You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the September 20th, 2022 meeting of the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Can you hear me, Angie? Okay, all right, very good. All right, roll call. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Dabney?
Present.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Present.
Mr. Mack?
Present.
Ms. Deitch?
Present.
Mr. Don Prespolinski?
Present.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski?
Present.
Mr. Simmons?
Present.
Ms. Jigus? Present. And Ms. Tillman?
Present.
We have 9 in favor and no one absent.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the September 6th, 2022 council meeting minutes? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion to approve by Councilman Dabney and seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Ms. Nylam on the vote.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Mr. Mack?
Aye.
Ms. Deitch?
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski?
Aye.
Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Jigus? Aye. Mr. Paul Prespolinski?
Aye.
And Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Are there reports of any standing committees this evening? None. Finance Committee meeting. Tracy Tillman, the chairman, is there anything that you'd like to report on?
That we did do our final wrap up on the budget workshops with the sanitary department, and they addressed their requests regarding the questions and answers that was issued out to all of the department heads. We concluded that, and then also the meeting, the city finance meeting that was held on September 6th. Due to a family emergency, I was not able to complete the meeting, which was carried out by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. And that was in regards to the claim from the Riverboat Fund 2042 in the amount of $17,753.26. And that was approved during the September 6th City Council meeting, and the motion to approve by Council Paul Prespolinski, second by Councilman Simmons. Motion carries 7 in favor, no one opposed. And as of this evening, I believe that we are going to be on our second readings for the city 2023 budget. And we will, are we going to do that at this point, or we're going to come back to that? As far as if there was any recommendations or.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that yet. I was going to.
Okay.
That's during the actual reading of the resolution.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, next is the claims docket, and there are no claims for the Riverboat or Boyd Development this evening. Reports of special or select committees. Any special or select committees? Having none. Reports from the mayor or other city officers and departments. No reports. Ms. Nylam, are there any petitions before us this evening?
There are no petitions this evening.
Ms. Nylam, were there any correspondences received in your office in the past 2 weeks?
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office from Attorney Harris Law Firm regarding concerns regarding the council lack of authority to enact ordinance 4637 and 4638.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman.
could we have this read into the record, please? This letter from our attorney, Jewel Harris.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. No, you can do it.
Dear Attorney Meyer, please be advised that I am receipt of your correspondence of the Board of Commissioners of the Michigan City Sanitary District dated September 6, 2022. In your memo, you expressed concern regarding the Michigan City Council lack of authority to enact on ordinances 4637 and 4638 as they represent an attempt by the council to limit the authority of the Michigan City Sanitary District Board of Commissioners. Having reviewed your memo and researched the relevant statutes, it is my opinion that the city council does indeed have the authority to adopt 4637 and 4638 under Indiana's home rule statute. The city has both the power granted expressly to the statute and all the other powers necessary or desirable in the conduct of its affairs, even though not granted by statute. IC 36-1-3-4. Further, any doubt as the existence of power of municipality shall be resolved in favor of the existence IC 36-1-3-3. Therein light of the fact that there is no statute that specifically restricts the city council ability to limit the sanitary board's discretion, the city council retains that power. It is worth noting that the council is taking this position as it leads to more cohesive approach to providing city services and managing the costs associated therewith. Should you wish to discuss these matters or more details, please do not hesitate to contact me. Very truly yours, Harris Law Firm, attorney of Michigan City Common Council, Jewis Harris Jr. Next, we have correspondence was received in the clerk's office on September 15th from Mayor Perry, vetoing ordinance 4637, amending section 98-85 of the Michigan City Municipal Code, known as additions to the sanitary district, to amend the annexation conditions and procedures.
Okay, and at this time, the council received a letter from the mayor why he vetoed the ordinance. And is there any comments
Yeah,
from the council members at this time?
I move to override the veto.
second.
Okay, there's been a motion by Councilman Fitzpatrick and seconded by Councilman Paul Prispolinski to override the veto. Is there any public comment?
Yeah.
Point of order, real quick. I just wanted to ask Councilman Fitzpatrick, we can override veto on both ordinances, or are we doing one at a time?
One at a time.
Yeah, veto 4637. Good point. Okay, yeah, we'll do one at a time.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure we
yeah.
override them both.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, so we are talking about ordinance 4637. Is there any public comment
I have
at
one.
this time? Your name?
Yes, sir.
Hold
You
on,
bet.
ma'am, your name and address for the clerk's record, please?
Why do I have to give my address?
Because that is procedure that we follow here at.
I can show you my license, my driver's license, so you will know that I am from Michigan City. How about that?
If I would like to have your name and address for the record.
All right,
please.
my name is
City.
Roberta Lee, Lee Conover, CONO, V as in Victor, ER. I am a daughter of a former appellate judge for the state of Indiana.
Okay, ma'am.
I just read
Ma'am,
this in
ma'am,
the paper today.
Ma'am, please.
Oh,
Your
don't yell.
address.
Don't be upset. I'm very upset, sir.
No.
And
I
you need to
your-
understand that.
Ma'am, I need your address for the record, please.
224 and a half West 10th Street, Michigan City.
Thank you. You may proceed.
You have 3 minutes.
It sounds like our Michigan City city council doesn't know about our state laws. What's wrong with this picture? You, and I mean all of you, need to resign from your taxpayer positions. but I know you won't. This city is under Indiana state laws that we've put through the process system in our state by law. Abiding leaders that we put through due process system in our state law, abiding leaders, and you people don't have a clue about them, nor do you care what they are. I will never vote for anyone sitting on this council again, and I will make sure our law-abiding citizens will know all of you. You don't care about our laws, our citizens in this state. That's clear, very clear. We, the people, elect you to speak for us. It's not the other way around. Not the other way around. You are representing us and have pledged to do so, but you break that pledge and send $510,000 plus taxpayer salaries. You wasted it away. Based on our count, how many hours have you people spent on this crap? Already to put your own agendas first. You break the laws and you just don't care. You don't care about our taxpayers. You don't care about anything but your own selves. Shame on you. You're representing the vast majority of tax-paying citizens. You're of the city. You are caring more about the Long Beach citizens than you are about us. The reason I say this is because we have asked for a police sub.
How many time has expired?
Yeah,
The Santa's hit the what?
your 3 minutes has expired.
Oh, that's all I get?
Yes. Your public comment, yeah.
Okay, and then I can do it again, can't I?
You can come back.
Oh, I will. I will. And you guys are, I'm gonna be hot on this subject. Hot.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this subject? Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Is there a motion by the council to override the mayor's veto? Yeah, there's a motion and a second already. Ms. Nyla, on the vote?
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Mrs. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jigus. Aye. Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed. Also, an ordinance number 4638 was received in the clerk's office on September 15th, creating section 98-86 and section 98-87 in the Michigan City Municipal Code to establish the conditions and procedures for additions to the sanitary district.
And is there any comments from the council at this time?
I'd like to make a motion to override the veto. Support.
Motion by Councilman Paul Prespolinski and seconded by Councilman Fitzpatrick to override the veto. Is there any public comment at this time?
Yes.
You have 3 minutes.
Only two,
Pardon?
only two?
You have three.
Three,
Thank you.
3 minutes. Name and address for the record, please.
Roberta Lee Conover, Conover. I stated it before, 224.5 West 10th Street,
Thank you.
Michigan City.
Thank you.
First, the sanitary department stole our taxpayer money to illegally do work without city approval. $510,000, $500,000. We could have used that to, I'll never vote for any one of you again. Never. Whoever is in my district, never vote for you again. The laws of the state are like nothing to you people. What's the matter with you? I've never done this before, so I'm nervous and I'm upset. The sanitation part owes the people, our city government, over $500,000. Plus, you people owe us money for the work you did for this crap. You need to pay us back. And I'm serious. The department needs to be arrested. You need to be arrested. And fired for illegally performing tasks for this illegal act. They did not abide by the laws of this state and should be held accountable for such lack of legality. City Council of Michigan City also needs to be held for illegally trespassing their designated duty of disregarding Indiana state law. You ignore protocol and bypass city rules of protocol dictating the taxpayers or their agenda will be an illegal ignoring city by going along with criminals like you. The sanitation department and all of you need to resign from your positions. Two illegal actions do not approve anything. You're all criminals and I have wasted a lot of money.
10 seconds.
Oh, thank you. Then I've wasted a lot of money. It could have been spent on a police substation
Your time.
in the historic district that we wanted a long time ago. 2 people have died because of that, because you didn't want it in our city.
Ma'am,
Thank you.
your time has expired. Thank you. Okay, we do have a motion on the floor.
Can I make a comment though? Just quickly,
Oh,
can
sure,
you-
go ahead.
for Ms. Conover, that work was done by the sanitary district and not the city council, and the city council voted against moving forward with the sewer project in Long Beach. I just wanted to give that information to her, is that we voted against it and we didn't pass it. But it happened before we knew about it. It was brought to the council after the fact. And now the city is trying to get that money back from Long Beach because we voted it down.
Why do you care more about Long Beach than you care about the taxpayer citizens?
Yeah.
We voted it down.
No. The councilwoman had her chance to respond and comment. You've already had your public comment on this subject. We don't go back and forth discussion wise. So if you want to stay for public comment, you can stay for public comment. You can get up and express more of your opinion. And if a council member wants to get into a discussion with you about it, you know, at that time, that's okay. And I'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy to have a phone discussion with you on this whole subject.
You bet. I need,
Let me finish, because I'm the liaison to the sanitary district. I was the one that brought this to the city council.
yeah, you're gonna be one of them that needs,
Let me,
help.
let me just finish, okay? And if you want to have that discussion, I'd be more than happy to get your phone number after the meeting and give you a call, talk to you about it, give you some more insight.
Ma'am, you have no place to speak here.
So
You have to wait
we are
again to
done.
the end of the meeting.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so we are done with this discussion, and we're moving on.
And
Councilman
we're gonna
Dabney,
keep our salaries.
ma'am,
You can have
please sit down.
not that much, trust me.
Please sit down.
Come on with
We wanted
I did,
help and you aren't giving it.
yeah.
Okay,
I did want to comment.
okay, Councilman Dabney, go ahead.
All right. So here's what happened between the sanitary district and the town of Long Beach. The town of Long Beach, their town council, they made the decision to come into an agreement with our sanitary department. Yes, yeah, no. Okay, all right. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm only going to give you the facts. So their town council made a deal with our, or had a contract with our sanitary district that they were going to extend sewer down Lakeshore Drive. And so they were trying to find funding and other things to go on with this. There was a loan out there. And the reason it came to the council is we had to give some bonding authority in order for the sanitation department to be able to do it. They don't have that authority. We do. So as they were trying, city council holds that. We get bonding authority. And I'm going to finish telling you the facts. So they had a deal amongst each other. And what happened was our sanitation department did have engineering and other things go on to the total of $500,000 or so. And so there were public meetings going on here where people from Long Beach that were both in support of extending that the sewer down Lakeshore Drive, and there were others opposed because there was going to be a fee that the people who would be hooking into those services would have to pay. But eventually it came back to the city council and we voted that project down. And then as a group, we voted it down. And so what happened in the contract, it talks about this $513,000 that you are referencing. In the contract, it does say that they are responsible for paying us that money back. That's for the engineering fees and that the sanitary department put up. Didn't come from the city council. And that is the request is out there for them to pay us back. And what the agreement says is that they have to pay us back no matter what happens, that project was finished or not. And the project obviously was voted down by us in regards to us getting authority for the bonding to go forward. So now they are responsible for paying us that money back. An invoice has been sent. There have been discussions going on with our sanitary district and the town council out there in Long Beach. The city council did not spend any money. We did not appropriate any funds to go toward that. So those are the facts.
I understand your fact.
Okay, now give me your facts.
Why haven't you incorporated other people that have been waiting so patiently?
And that would be what other people have been waiting so patiently.
I call for the question.
Okay, ma'am,
To be incorporated.
ma'am, we, Councilman Dabney explained basically what took place. And
You don't.
let me finish. Yeah, we're not gonna have a back and forth discussion here. But this city council right here voted 6-3 and voted that down. Okay, So not all the city council voted for it. There were 3 members that didn't vote for it. With that, there was 5, and that was going on in Long Beach since 2019. The sanitary district was out there putting a sewer project together. The city council didn't know a thing about it. I wasn't made aware of it, being the liaison to the sanitary district. So what the problem is here, it's not with the city council, is we don't owe anybody a dime. We didn't spend a dime. The city council didn't spend a dime out there. The sanitary district spent money out there. And now we have to get that money back from the city of Long Beach. And it's in an agreement, a written agreement, that at 60 days after we voted that down, that they had to respond back and pay us the money. Well, the sanitary district has sent a couple notifications to them or letters to them asking where they stand, where's the money. So the money is being held up by the city of Long Beach. Michigan City Council, the 6 people that voted against this project to extend sewer projects out to Long Beach. Okay, we have some, and you asked, why don't we do this to other annexed areas? We have sewers in Michigan City that need work. Sewer, sanitary sewers and clean water sewers are still tied together. And those are that's a big project, and nobody even talks about that. So we are well aware of the projects that need to be done. We just need some leadership on getting it done. So
I have one comment.
thank you.
Okay. And just one
Okay.
comment.
What, ma'am? Ma'am,
Okay.
ma'am.
For the record, I just wanted to say real quick for the record, the sanitary district has their own board that governs them, and that board is appointed solely by the mayor and the administration. So all we can do is deal with what comes in front of us. I'm saying we don't appoint that board, and that board made the decision to take that action, not us.
Okay, ma'am.
Question.
Thank you are there any other council comments? Any other council comments on this subject? Okay, having none, there's been a motion made to veto the,
Override.
override the veto. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Ziggers. Aye. Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mrs. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nyla.
Correspondence was also received in the clerk's office on September 14th from Attorney Guy DiMaranto, PC, regarding an accident with the Michigan City Police Department vehicle.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nyla. Does the author have anything that he'd like to comment?
Wait a minute, I gotta read the resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I wrote that.
Okay, I'm trying to get back here.
Okay.
Okay, I thought we were on resolutions.
We are, I'm gonna read it. Resolution by title only,
What about
the vote? We did that. We did.
correspondence about, we had another accident with CPD?
I read that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm gonna read the resolution and we'll move on.
Right.
A resolution by title only, a resolution increasing and decreasing certain appropriations within the budget of the City Hall Department of the General Fund 1001 for the year 2022 in Michigan City, Indiana. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney.
And would the author like to comment on the resolution?
Yeah, the only thing I want to say in regards to this resolution, that this is transferred within departments in the same or money moving within the same department. This is not new money being appropriated for this project. They're just transferring out of certain funds into others in order to do, as it says here, repairs and maintenance. So it's not new money. Just wanted the public to know that, in the amount of $13,211 that have been transferred from other accounts into this one within one single department, not new money.
Okay, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this resolution? Anyone from the public wish to comment on the resolution? Anybody from the public wish to speak on the resolution? Having none, public comment is closed. Are there any council comments on the resolution? I have a comment or a question to the author. What exactly is the transfer? I understand a transfer. What's that money going to be used for?
I'm not exactly sure exactly what it's going to be used for. Yvonne, could you assist me on this, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yvonne Hoffmeister, City Controller. This transfer is,
I'll read your, Mike.
Can you speak up a little louder?
I can't hear.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear it? Okay.
Yes.
Nancy
Okay.
and Tracy, okay.
This is a transfer within the budget of the City Hall building to replace the carpet in the suites upstairs. The carpet that's currently there is more than 20 years old. And I can attest to the condition of this carpet because I have tripped on snags and where the carpet is pulling away from the floor, and I've actually face planted on my desk. It's not only by my desk. I know all around all of the desks in my suite is all in this same condition. And it's throughout all of the suites upstairs. It's just the carpet is snagged. It's pulling away from the concrete, and it's creating a safety hazard for the employees.
Thank you. I do have a comment, and I did look and I went through the suites, and because I know that this project is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 55, correct me if I'm wrong, the total cost of this project, $60,000.
It's a little over 40,000.
40,000. Okay, thank you. So I looked at all the suites. I can attest the mayor's office and the suite there where his administrator's at. I saw some snags here and there, some loose carpeting. I walked through the inspection department suites, the CBG grant area, walked through there, and the planning department. That carpeting looks fine. The attorney's office, the event planner's office, all that carpeting. Yeah, does it need to be clean? Sure it does. Does it need to be all brand new carpeting? The only place that I can see brand new carpeting at is in the mayor's office. You know, these other things, the snags and what have you, I didn't see them in any of the areas. But it needs to be clean. But for $40,000 for carpeting, especially in the inspection department, the planning department, that carpet is almost like, to me, it looks brand new. And I know it's an office area, but it's also a work area with the people from the inspection department going in and out all day long. So, yeah, that's my comment on this resolution. Okay, with that being said, is there a motion to, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Dabney.
Support.
Support by Councilman Fitzpatrick. Ms. Nyla, on the vote.
Was there public comment? Or was there any public comment? Or did you, I'm sorry, I'm behind. You did. Thank you.
Yeah, I had public.
You did.
Yeah, mine got.
Trying to keep up. Thank you.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
No.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Jagus, Ms. Jagus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Nay.
Ms. Tillman,
Nay.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
and Mr. Matt.
Aye.
We have 3 opposed and 6 in favor.
If there's no objection by the council, I'd like to waive the council rules. They add the following ordinance on first reading. And may I have a motion if there's no objection? That's just.
I move that we waive the rules to add the additional ordinance that I am sponsoring for the FEMA floodplain to the agenda.
Second.
In front of everyone.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the ordinance on first reading this evening. Ms. Nylam on the vote.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Jagus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
All right, thank you, Ms. Nylam. Would you please read the following proposed ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, repealing and replacing Article 8 in Chapter 46 of the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as floodplain. And this is introduced by Ms. Deitch.
And would the author like to say anything about the ordinance?
Yes, every few years we have to update the floodplain plan. So this is an existing ordinance that exists to make sure that our residents that are in the floodplain, when they file insurance claims or if something happens, that they're able to be compensated for any losses. And what has happened is that over the course of the transition between this council and mayor, the emails were going to a different, going to former employees' emails as well. And so we have a hard deadline to get this done so there's no lapse. So our deadline is September 29th. And if there is a lapse, it could be detrimental to residents that reside in those floodplains. So I sent out an email earlier to all of the council members to get a consensus on a time or date of Monday for a special meeting to get this done in time for that hard deadline of September 29th. So again, it's just an update to an existing plan for our FEMA floodplain. Thank you.
Okay, and Councilwoman, a question for you as far as the response back for the workshop. Are we gonna have it Monday?
I've only heard from a few people, so Councilman Don, if since I'm not there, maybe you can get a consensus from them at, after the council meeting. But I was looking at 5 o'clock on Monday. We have to have at least 5 people in person, and others can be by Zoom, but we do need to have a quorum, and it needs to be a minimum of 5 people in person for us to do that. So that's the goal. It should last 15 to 30 minutes max. But to make sure, I would like to get that scheduled tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, if I would, yeah.
Quick question,
Council
Don.
members.
Just a quick question. Angie, I'm asking you for a favor on this one with work. Could you push this to 5:15? Give me a few minutes to get out of work.
Yeah,
With the-
5:15
New
is fine.
position.
Or 5:30. which
I
whatever
would
time
appreciate
works. Yep, 5:15 works.
5:15, 5:30, either one, but I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Deitch, why don't we just say 5:30?
I'm good with that.
5:30, so everybody knows, 5:30 Monday.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna say, is everybody gonna be there?
No.
You have to check your schedule.
No, I was gonna ask for a special favor because I'm working that day. I
Okay.
won't be back in town till at least 6:30.
Okay, well. You wanna,
Well, let's talk about it offline, and if we have 5 people, let's see what time. I'm okay with, I have to check, but let's circle back tomorrow.
okay, yeah, everybody get back. If you have an issue with 5:30, then get with Councilwoman Deitch between now and tomorrow so she can schedule the meeting. Okay, anyone from the public wants to speak on this? And I know that city planner Skylar York is here to explain to the council and to the public exactly what we're doing here
Absolutely.
with this ordinance.
Good afternoon, council. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. So the deal with this is that we need to be standing in, let me back up. This is the same ordinance in word that exists to this day. But what we've done is we've added in a special, and a coastal, it's called a VE zone, and it's a coastal flood zone. We've known that this coastal flood zone was coming with higher waters, worse storms, things of that nature. So now with the new flood maps, we actually have coastal flooding zones, which we've never had before. You would find these typically around oceans, the Atlantic coast, West Coast, Gulf, things of that nature. Now we have these floodplains here. So that's actually what you'll see in here. That's really what's been added into this. That's really the bulk of the addition is the VE zones. And hence, and when they added that in, there's a couple more definitions, such as what does the foredune mean? You have to explain those things. So there's some definitions that are added in with that VE zone. So that's what you'll see in here. That's the bulk of the change, really. That's really it. There was some miscommunication with whom it should go to. And then they notified us on the 25th. We had to have this done on the 29th of September. We requested an extension, to which we were told we could not get an extension. I kind of exhausted our opportunities, I guess you would say. But to get this done by the 29th, it's really because FEMA has to publish it, just like we would have to publish any other ordinance or adoption of ordinance. There's a publication process. It's very rigorous. You can imagine it's a federal organization. So this keeps us in good standing. And it helps the existing homeowners who are in a floodplain maintain their good standing with the National Flood Insurance Program. But also what it does is say someone wants to purchase that house that's in a floodplain. If we don't have this in place, they can't get a mortgage. So it has a snowball effect, if you will, a trickle down effect. So it's very important to get this in good standing and be in good standing with FEMA so that we can maintain it's called the NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program. It helps us stay in good standing with that. So that's essentially what it is. This is a model ordinance that's created by DNR and FEMA. They tell us what we need in our ordinance and we adopt it. It's not something that I personally put together. Just
Thanks, Scott. So I got a question about, I don't know, it was a couple years ago when we had the high tide up and there was erosion along the lakefront. Would this affect those areas or would they be impacted by this?
So it affects building in those areas. We're actually pretty good because if you think about it, we have the Esplanade that protects us, but such as places like Long Beach, they don't have the benefit of having that extra buffer. We have the Esplanade that pretty much protects a lot of our coastal, I put it in quotation, our coastal areas that are prone to flooding. We have a buffer, if you will, but we also don't want to allow people to dig out, ruin, things of that nature, because actually that foredune protects those houses along Lakeshore Drive. Some of them actually sit lower than what's where we're at. So I might also add that we also made sure that the Cheney Run was corrected in this most recent edition of maps. I made sure that got corrected where it had never been corrected since 1980s or so. So we made sure that got corrected with the new data.
Thank you. Councilman Paul Przepolinski.
So everybody knows our planner, Skylar York. Could you expound on the corrections that you had to make with the Cheney Run to the map?
Absolutely. So Cheney Run, as you might back a long time ago, Cheney Run used to be a ditch, absolutely a ditch. I think in the 60s, it was sunk in the ground. It's in a massive pipe. It daylights in certain areas. And for years, the question was, why is it showing a floodplain through there? There isn't a floodplain through there because it's in a pipe. So what we had to do was they had never established base flood elevations, BFEs. We had to hire Haas and Associates to basically work with DNR and FEMA to come up with a way to calculate these base flood elevations and establish those. And it basically took, I think there was maybe a couple hundred people that were in the floodplain. It took about 124 or 25 people out of that floodplain. Unfortunately, you couldn't get them all out with the calculations, but a large majority of them got to come out of that floodplain. And then with the corrections, we made sure that was not shown on that map. So when we adopt this floodplain and the maps that are associated with it, or this flood ordinance and the maps, it will correct all that. And then from then on forward, we'll be using this most current data.
One more question. Was it only in that area to the east, or was anybody else affected by that, say like in
Gardena
Knapp School area or
mainly in the Gardena Park area? It daylights right in there. Right before it goes into the railroad tracks, it daylights. But we're talking like a massive flood. And a lot of those people have come and gotten what's called a LOMR or a LOMA. It's called a letter of map amendment or a letter of map revision. And they've been able to actually get out of that floodplain.
Flood insurance.
Now, the flood insurance is also dictated by your mortgage holder rather than FEMA and not the city. So it is your bank provider that dictates whether or not you have to have it. So sometimes you prove it and they still make you have it. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Mr. York?
I'll be at the meeting too. So
yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
Yep, we'll get this taken care of. All right, Ms. Nyla, our next ordinance on first reading.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Planning and Inspection Department of the General Fund to fund the lease of new vehicles. And this is introduced by Ms. Deitch.
And does the sponsor have anything that she would like to add at this time?
Yeah, so this amount, to make it cleaner, and had this conversation with Skylar York and with our attorney, that was the trade-in value of the vehicles that they had previously. And to make it cleaner, instead of getting a credit from the dealership, they got a check instead for that amount. So that for the trade-in, we just had them actually send us the check, and it went into the unappropriated balance of $34,000. So they're asking for that trade-in money that for the cars they returned to use for the lease of the new vehicles. Thank you.
Okay, anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance?
Tommy Klovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I feel you need to approve this, but don't let the mayor drive any of the new inspection vehicles. He needs to stay off of them. He's got his own mayor mobile he can drive. Don't drive those. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this? Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Having none, any council comments? Council comments?
I would like to ask
Councilman
if,
Krasnowski?
if we could do this on second reading tonight, since it's, we're not spending any money, that we're just, transferring money.
Still have to have formal.
Do we have to have a
I'd like to make a motion to have it on second reading tonight.
do we have to have a formal public hearing at all?
Yes.
Yeah, but that would take place now.
Take place.
Yeah, with the second reading.
It has to be advertised.
You gotta advertise it too. Pardon?
No one would have had notice. Yeah, we have to have hearing.
Right,
Okay,
so we can't do it.
Right.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah, we can do second and third reading at the next meeting if we choose to do so, but we have to advertise.
okay, thank you. Ms. Nyla, moving on to the next ordinance on first reading.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the DEA forfeiture fund to fund purchase of cargo van. And this is also introduced by Ms. Deitch.
And would the author like to add anything at this time?
Yeah, so this is the fund that it's specialized fund with the police department. And this is to replace the paddy wagon that's in bad shape. So it's to take money from that specific fund to replace the I guess it's called paddy wagon, but anyway, that vehicle.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance?
Yeah, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. Just saw the van. They have it on the football games on Friday night at Ames Field. It is in really bad shape, needs to be replaced. So this needs to be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the council wish to speak on this ordinance? Ms. Nyland, act as a co-sponsor of this, would you please? Anyone else from the council wish to speak on this? Having none, it'll be held over for a second reading at our October 4th meeting. Ms. Nyla, will you please read the fourth ordinance on first reading by title only?
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund of legal expenses for the city's espionage. And this is introduced by Ms. Jacobs.
And does the author have anything that she would like to add at this time?
No, I think we're all familiar with the legal action going on, and I think they asked me to sponsor this because they need to. So this is just a continuation of what was started.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Having none. Any council comments? Any council comments?
Yes,
None? Pardon?
Councilman, if I may just ask, with this new amount for appropriation, currently, I believe the $175,000 that was originally approved, we're now at approximately a remaining of $13,000. So with this new additional appropriation, would you happen to know a time frame or how long, if you can give a time frame about how long that this is going to continue on?
Is that a question for Councilwoman Zegas?
If Councilwoman Zegas can answer that, I appreciate it.
Probably has to go back.
I definitely can't answer that, Attorney Harris.
Okay.
No.
No, we don't know that.
Yeah, nobody has an answer at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Billman, yeah. That might come up. That'd be a great question for the workshop that's coming up here in the
Mhm.
next week or so, I think. Yes, Councilman Paul Prasponski.
Well, I'll make my comment now. I was gonna make it later, but since that question came up, is I think that at some point we need to have an exec session with the legal department of the city to find out how many torts that are out there, how many lawsuits are pending, and our liability that's out there. Thank you.
Any other comments by councilman, council people? Having none, Ms. Nyla, that will be held over for our next meeting on October 4th. Ms. Nyla, will you please read the fifth ordinance on second reading by title only?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, amending municipal code section 22-606 regarding the rate of pay for licensing board members.
And do the authors have anything they'd like to add?
Nothing really. It's just bringing them up to speed to the other boards.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to comment on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Having none, any council comments? Any council comments?
I move that we hear this on third reading.
Okay.
Second that.
There's been a motion by Councilwoman Deitch to have. Excuse me.
Second.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, there's been a motion by Councilwoman Deitch and seconded by Councilwoman Tracy Tillman to have third readings on this evening. Ms. Nyla on the vote.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
and Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye. We will now have this on third readings. Ms. Nyla, by title only.
An ordinance on third reading by title only, amending municipal code section 22-606 regarding the rate of pay for licensing board members. And this is introduced by Ms. Deitch and Ms. Shaker.
And would the authors like to add anything at this time? Okay, anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anybody from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Public comment is now closed. Any council comments?
I move for adoption.
Support. Motion by Councilwoman Deitch for to adopt and seconded by Councilman Dabney. Okay, thank you. Ms. Nyla, on the vote, please.
Ms. Jagus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Matt.
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
and Mr. Tillman.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
And Ms. Nyla, will you please read the sixth ordinance on second reading by title only?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, ordinance or resolution for appropriation and tax rate. And this was introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Fitzpatrick, Mr. Paul Prespolinski, and Mr. Dabney.
And do the authors have anything that they would like to add at this time?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tracy Tillman?
Thank you. Well, as we go through the salaries, when we had our workshops, there were no recommendations at that time by the finance committee. And currently, since then, there has been recommendations.
Is this the salaries or the tax rates?
No, tax rates.
Oh, okay.
We're on the full budget in the tax rate,
Right here.
not the
Okay.
salary ordinance.
Salaries, right?
She said salaries, but I don't know.
Right, that's why I want to make sure.
I think she was.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Oh, okay. So, there were, as I was stating, there were no recommendations during the city finance 2023 budget workshop at that time.
Thank you.
So, I'm sorry?
No, any other comments?
No, not at this moment.
Okay. Are there any other comments by the authors, co-authors? Having none, anyone from the public wish to speak on this? And this evening, we're going to have a formal public hearing this evening on this, and this is for the ordinance or resolution for appropriation and tax rates. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this ordinance? And just for public knowledge, that this ordinance and all this information is posted on Gateway, which is the accounting format for the city. With that being said, the formal public hearing is now closed. Is there, does the council have any comments? Any council comments?
Yes.
Oh.
I would like to make a recommendation.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
I would like to make make amendments. If you can bear with me. I would do this based off of giving the fund and the descriptive. Starting off, I'm going to.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Do we have, were those emailed or do we have a paper, is there a paper copy there?
They were emailed in. There's a.
Okay, all right, I'll pull it up, just confirming. Thank you, sorry for interjecting.
No problem. Okay. So starting off with, one moment while I scroll down. For the Fund 0101, the general fund, amend the 2023 budget estimate from $30,200,478 to $29,350,000, which will give a difference of $850,478.
Support.
Can I second on that? No.
I just did a second.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Made the amendment. There was a second by Councilwoman Deitch. With that being said, is there any public comment? Any public comment on the amendment? Any public comment on the amendment? Having none? Ms. Nyla?
No, I don't.
Council comment on the
Yeah.
amendment?
Yes.
And Dabney?
Yeah, quick question. I see, what's being done. It doesn't point to where it's coming from. So we're gonna be cutting from 30 million to 29 million or so there, a difference of $850,000. Who's making those cuts? I mean,
I'm assuming that's the city, go ahead. Ms.
Thank you. I would take that as that will be on the administration, as we have been told or said to us from the administration in prior budget hearings that they have the experience and know what is needed to operate and what the departments will need to operate. So with this cut, then they should be able to negate for each department and how to run the city.
And just a quick, I'm just looking at the rest of the amendments, so I don't ask the same question over and over. We're assuming the same thing for each of these amendments.
That is correct, sir.
That there, it goes back to the mayor to make the cuts. Okay.
Okay, any
I
other?
I have a comment.
Okay, Councilman Matt.
Oh.
Wait patiently down there.
Right. Ms. Tillman, I just wanted to ask you, in the email, because I haven't seen this email, it looks like it just came out today. Did it include like the basis for the cuts, like where these dollar amounts actually like came from?
Yes, excuse me. These cuts and recommendation began when we started our budget hearing workshops. This was the consensus of information that was obtained and gathered from the controller's office. Also, with taking into consideration the letters that went out to all the department heads that address their needs as well. And in order to assist financially where cuts could be taken from. And again, this will be something that the administration should be able to navigate through to make the necessary cuts in their appropriations that will be needed for each department.
I have a comment after he's done.
Nice.
Yeah, and yes, I'm supporting this too because one of the things that I guess I'm more concerned with is that this is the general fund, and they basically we're going to deplete the general fund by the end of next year. And I feel like if we have another issue or emergency or something that happens over the next year, I mean, COVID was something that was devastating, but we still need to make sure as the fiscal responsible parties for the city that we don't, go into our reserves and leave them at, next to nothing. And the general fund was going to be depleted down to $200 and something thousand. And I agree with the cut because that leaves about $1 million in there, which I totally agree with. So I just wanted to express that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Paul for this one.
As going through them budget hearings and also having the workshop on the annexation of 426 acres out on the east side of town. I think that, and I hope that everybody came away from that attended the meeting, and we had a fair amount of a good information brought in front of us on how much this was could cost, and our responsibility through the fiscal plan that we need to really watch the monies. We need to come up with a cushion because it's very evident that the administration wants to deplete the fund, and has been no discussion at all on how we're going to pay for engineering and our responsibilities to provide services out there. And this is not going to be a $1 million journey. It's not going to be a $2 million journey. It's going to be a hard hit, multiple $1 million hit on the city. And that's, you're talking about a lot of money, and we need to look at how it's going to affect the ratepayers, and we need to get that cushion So we do not have to have a sanitary rate increase or a water department increase to pay for these responsibilities that part of the annexation is gonna happen. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
I'm looking over the amendments and I asked that first question and none of these we're not, finance committee, the city council are not making the recommendations of where that money should come from. And this takes me all the way back to budget hearings. If budget hearings are done with every single department, this should be done with that department. Cuts should be identified when you review the different departments. When you review the riverboat dollars and everything like that. So we did not, or we neglected to do it. And now we're punting it back to the administration to do it. I mean, they're going to do it. They understand how to do it. But the way the budget process works, mayor creates his own budget. He meets with his department heads, creates his own budget based on the spending that they want. Budget then comes to the city council, the finance committee to review with every department head, and they make the cuts from the different departments that they see fit, present that back to the council, and then we make the votes on those amendments. And this right here is just saying, okay, we're going to cut $10,000 from this fund or whatever it may be, at $10 million from whatever fund, and it's going back to the controller's office to do it. I mean, I'm sure they're going to be able to do it, but this is I've been on the council now 6 years, and this is way out of bounds compared to how we've always done it. And I don't understand. I really don't get it. I just wanted to voice that because we're punting this back. When we are the financial body, the financial arm of the city, and we didn't take the time out to make the cuts, meet with the departments and do that. We have a sheet where we always kept a running total of what we were going to try to cut. And like I said, they're presented to the council and then we vote on it. So I'm a little sad that it's being done this way. I understand why it's being done that way now that we're in the predicament that we are. But I just had to stress that.
Councilman Dunn, can I make an additional comment?
Sure, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yeah. The only thing that I would add, because it's statutorily, we don't have to follow that process. But I guess my concern is, who am I? I don't want to cut the wrong thing from a department. I'd rather the administration talk with their own department heads and prioritize those items with them. Because if I willy-nilly go in and say, well, I don't want them to have this and I don't want them to have that, that's my personal opinion. I'd rather a Sean Smith or a fire chief or somebody decide on what items are the priority for themselves instead of us just cutting certain things in their budget. I'm just not comfortable with where we're at to do that because I think that's just some other cities do it this way. They just say, hey, you guys go back, we're going to cut it 3 million, you figure it out because the priorities are what they are. And they did a great job in filling out those forms and everything and sharing that. But if there's a piece of equipment that's more important than another piece of equipment, I don't want to cut the wrong piece of equipment out because of a need. And it's just because that's what I think. And I'm not the expert on any of that equipment or anything. So I don't want to be the one that just strikes stuff out of their budget that I'm not sure is, rated higher or lower. I just want them to be able to do that versus me striking out the different line items and telling them what's the most important for them in their departments. So that's the only reason why I agree with this process. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
So I guess, and now this is the precedent going forward. This is the way we're gonna always do it. Where we may as well not even schedule the budget hearing, just get the budget and say, hey, cut $7 million out of the budget. Have at it.
Now, and if I may comment with the budget process, and I know what Councilman Dabney's talking about, because I served on some of those budget hearing committees with him, and we went through line by line, and we cut monies here, we cut monies there. We actually cut a lot of money, I thought. But either way, that's the way that it was done then. That's the way this finance committee decided they wanted to do it. So I guess you just have to, whatever your philosophy is. With that being said, but I do have a concern with the amount of money that was going to be left in the general fund. And, we need to beef that up. But this annexation issue going on, and, a lot of people may not know what that's all about. But, that's going to cost the city some money, and it's a legal obligation that the city has to abide by. We don't even know what it's going to cost. We don't even know what the engineering is going to cost yet. It's going to be in the millions of dollars. And where we're going to get that funding from, I don't know right offhand. Nobody's even discussed it. We haven't even had, we had one workshop. I wasn't able to make it. But, after that, I haven't heard anything, and it's been almost 2-3 weeks now since that workshop. To me, that's a very serious financial matter and legal matter for the city that I think we need to get our hands around, and we're going to need the funding. So I would have to agree to, cut that 850 from the riverboat spending and increase the general fund with that. With that being said, any other council comments? Having none, we're going to vote on the ordinance now. I mean, on the amendment. Yeah, Ms. Nyla, the vote on the amendment.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt.
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
and Ms. Jagus.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no opposed.
Okay, Ms. Nyla?
If I can move on to the next one. Fund 005, Riverboat Fund, amend 2023 budget estimate from $10,081,550 to $6,081,550, which is a difference of $4 million.
I'll second that. Is that in the form of motion? I'll second that. And we will call that amendment number 2, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we have a motion by Councilwoman Tillman, seconded by Councilman Paul Prespolinski. Is there any public comment on this amendment? Any public comment on this amendment? Any public comment on this amendment? Having none, is there any council comment on this amendment?
I have a comment.
Okay, Councilman Mack.
Oh, go ahead, Councilman Mack. I'm sorry.
This comment or question is for Yvonne. Is there any change in the expectation of dollars we're getting from the riverboat? I mean, if we are saying a budget estimate from $10 million, isn't the assumption that the riverboat fund was going to bring us $10 million? I mean, is there something that changed where there's an expectation that that's going to be a lower amount? So the realistic expectation of the funds that are coming to Michigan City from the riverboat? Is it 6 million or 10 million? Or 9 and some change, or?
I'm sorry, but I can't hear Controller Hoffmaster.
I haven't spoken yet.
She hasn't said anything.
Oh, okay.
It looks like we're expecting, I think that says $9.9 million next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
And then we anticipate a balance of a little over $5 million at the end of this year.
Okay. Thank you.
I do have a question for
Deitch?
Controller. Thank you, Chair. My question is, if we went from the 20 to 15% amount that we had put in the ordinance that we passed, how much was that additional amount that we would have taken and put in the rainy day fund? That's one question.
Is that for Controller Hoffmaster?
Yes, because we kept it at the 20%, but if it went to the 15%, what would that amount have been?
Yeah.
Versus-
That wouldn't have affected the rainy day fund at all. We still would put that 25% into the rainy day fund.
Okay.
We take that off the top and move that to the rainy day fund first.
Okay. So then my next question is, with $4 million, and I just want to make sure, because that's a large amount. I just want to ask the question: are there any large purchases that are being used with the riverboat funds that are over, $500,000?
Yes, there were, I believe, a couple of projects in there.
So they could come back technically for.
Yes, yeah, if the departments want to move forward with those, we'll bring the additional appropriation back to the council.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure, because I know that I don't know how much, if the majority of salaries are coming out of the general fund. I'm just curious of what percentage of the riverboat fund is covering salaries of what you budgeted.
So you're asking how much of the riverboat money pays the salaries?
Yes.
Yeah, is there a certain amount that covers salaries for existing employees?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments by council members on the amendment? Okay, there's already been a motion and a second. Ms. Nyla, on the vote?
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Ms. Deitch? You vote?
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Nay.
and Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and 3 opposed.
Thank you. The next one, number 3 for amendment, Fund 9513, Lit Public Health, amend 2023 budget estimate from $800,000 to $400,000.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion by Councilwoman Tracy Tillman to amend Fund 9513 and seconded by Councilman Paul Prizbalinski. Is there anyone from the council or anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this amendment? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this amendment? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this amendment? Having none, any council comments on this amendment? Councilman Dabney?
I can comment when I make the vote, but I just wanted to say even Amendment 1 that I voted aye for. I apologize. I should have voted nay because I don't know where these dollar amounts are how they're identified in terms of the amount of money to cut. That's all.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Deitch?
I have a technical question from for the attorney, because with the one, so my question is, when we come back for our next reading, because I do believe a workshop is needed after these cuts have been done, because I just want to make sure that employees aren't being impacted by the cuts. So I'm voting right now, but I would like a workshop scheduled with the controller and the council after any amendments are done, because I am going to make a motion that we can make amendments on third reading. Just to make sure if there needs to be a change in some of the things that happen based on that conversation, that we have the ability to do that. But I would like that sooner than later so that we have time to get that done. So just my comment. I don't know. So if we go through that process, Attorney Harris, my question is, like, for instance, we made this $4 million, right? Would we be able to go back and adjust that later?
Yes, you would be able to. Or if there's additional information that needs to be provided.
Yes.
Workshop and also include it on third readings when it comes to the Yes.
All right. Thank you. That's what I need to know. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have a question for the authors, just for some clarification for myself. And I know what the lit tax is. So we want to amend the budget from 800,000 to 400,000. So are we saying that the lit tax that comes in, if it hits 800,000, we want to take 400,000 out of that and put that into the riverboat? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Am I?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And we also, to keep in mind too, with the lit funds that will be forthcoming, hopefully within by the end of this year, going into 2023, for the increase of the lit for public health and safety. The purpose is not wanting to deplete the lit, but there will be revenue that will be coming in that will increase that amount that will be put back into the lit.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments, questions from the council members? If none, Ms. Nyla, on the vote for the amendment?
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Nay.
Ms. Jigus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
and Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
You have 5 in favor and 4 opposed.
Moving on to the next one. Recommendation for amendments from Fund 103, Mayor salary, current 2022 salary of $79,410. The budget estimate salary of $101,541.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Excuse me. That's the next ordinance coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
trying to keep it,
Yeah, right.
just trying to keep it rolling.
Okay. My apologies. Then going to,
Yeah, the rest are all salaries, Councilwoman Tillman.
yes, okay, thank you.
That'll go on to the next ordinance that we're gonna talk about here now,
Okay.
okay? Councilman Paul Prespolinski.
Mr. Harris, concerning the amendments on third reading, that motion be made today?
It would be a clean record if you were to make the motion. I believe Councilman Steinman was starting to make that motion and then it morphed into a question. And it didn't happen or we didn't seek a second.
So
If you
we're,
want for clarity, you can.
we're still on that ordinance per se.
Yeah, we haven't moved on yet. So I move that we,
We make I move to make amendments on third reading.
I support that.
Okay, there's been a motion to make amendments on
Third.
reading, with this ordinance. And there's been a second by Councilwoman Deitch. Ms. Nyla on the vote.
Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jigus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
and Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nyla. Our next ordinance, could you please read, Ms. Nyla?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees of the city of Michigan City, Indiana for the calendar year 2023. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Paul Prespolinski, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Sean Fitzpatrick.
And do the authors have anything that they'd like to add at this time? Councilman Paul Prespolinski.
Yes, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to have amendments on third reading.
Support.
There's been a motion and a second to have amendments made on third reading on this ordinance. Ms. Nyla on the vote.
Mr. Mack,
Aye.
Mrs. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jigus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Patrick.
Aye.
We have 9 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, Ms. Nyla. And you already read the title. Are there any comments by the authors?
I'd like to make an amendment.
Councilwoman Tillman, go ahead.
Okay, let me, bear with me. So we're
on the
salaries.
But we're not on the mayor's salary or the control. Okay, there you go.
One moment, please. For the city administrative position, the proposed amount was for $59,160. And I'm making a request for amendment of 2%, amending it to $53,500.
Second.
We had a motion by Councilwoman Tillman and a second by Councilman Paul Prisbalinski for the city administrative position for a 2% raise, which would be $53,500. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this amendment? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this amendment? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this amendment? Any council comments? Any council comments? Councilman Paul Prisbalinski?
The mindset here is that we're trying to stay at 2%. People are getting 2%, employees are getting 2%. So I think it's only correct that we stay within that 2% guidelines.
Any other council comments on the amendment?
I do.
Matt, Councilman Matt?
It looks like we've, because I didn't have any information on where these cuts are coming from, but I just got the obvious gist of it, that there's just been across the board 2% belief. And just on what I've been seeing as the future of Michigan City and our growth potential and what we can do to grow, this is just not the future, in my opinion, to minimize. It should be to maximize and try to get the best people in some of these positions and stuff. So, I'm disagreeing with the direction we seem to be going with this. So I'll probably be voting against a lot of these decreases in the salary increases that were proposed.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, real quick. He said now everybody's gonna just have a 2% raise. Is
No.
that what I'm-
If I may I interject, Chair?
Yeah, please.
If correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman Paul Prisbalinski. The 2% is due to that is what was recommended from the administration for our hourly employees. And I do concur with Councilman Mack had said. I totally agree, for the simple fact that the administration and department heads in these positions, the recommendations was an astronomical increase, but yet they only approved 2% for our hourly employees who actually is out in the fields doing the grunt of the work. And that 2% should have been increased to at least 6%. But yeah, it seems to be okay for administration to make recommendations for department heads. Not saying that they're not worthy or the work does not entail or because of the staffing that they have to oversee. But again, our city employees that's actually out there is only getting a 2% raise. That's an insult. I have nothing further.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Dabney?
Oh, okay.
Councilwoman Zaitis?
So I'm not understanding this because it says 59,160, then a space, 2%, then amended 53,500. Is that a decrease of 2% you're trying to say?
Yes.
It's an increase.
Increase, I'm sorry.
Well, about 59 to 53.
From the original salary their current base salary, they're proposing 59,160. So that 2% is based is based off of their current base pay.
So we're back to doing percentages instead of using a salary study or something like that, correct?
No, it's based off of, that's what the administration approved for the hourly, so to try to keep that within that the 2% range.
I do have a
Councilwoman
comment.
Deitch?
Yeah, I didn't have this. I didn't get any of these by email, so I'm just now pulling these up. But so when we had the workshop, a second deputy controller, Tamiko Smith, did a presentation, which for the most part I agree with the majority of the recommendations that were presented outside of two. This is a lot. I understand what trying to say about the hourly, but I know that last year we gave them the maximum amount of the request. We did not cut anything from any employee salary. We gave them the maximum that was requested last year. Unlike what we did with the salaries. The salaries are all over. And based on the spreadsheet that was sent today, it looks like they were trying to bring people in line with one another, based on what I saw in the spreadsheet that we got late this afternoon. So this one is not, I'm not feeling comfortable, because I had to have someone just send it to me because I haven't seen it. Because you said tip 2%, then we have a 5% on here, and then we're deleting a few. And you can go through all these amendments if you want, but I'm not comfortable with voting to make all these changes tonight. I'm just voicing my opinion to all of you. So that's just my concern. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Gene Simmons.
Yes, this kind of caught me off guard as well, because I thought we were perfectly fine with what was given to us in the workshop. And now we're talking 2%, 5%. Well, and I'm confused. You're saying that this came from the mayor, 2% from administration?
For the city workers. Yeah.
The hourly.
Not the salaried employees, the hourly workers, 2% across the board.
Up on whose recommendation though? That was proposed to you?
I don't agree with it.
So kind of what, piggybacking off what Councilwoman Deitch was saying, the hourly employees were proposed a 2% increase across the board. Some of these salaried employees were getting substantially more than the 2%. So I think what the attempt of Councilwoman Tillman was to put the salaried employee increases in line with the 2% that was for the hourly as well.
Yes.
And can I make that comment again?
Councilwoman Deitch, go ahead.
Yeah, so what I'm saying though is last year, we were all over the board with the salaries. But last year we gave all hourly employees the maximum amount that was recommended last year. that did not happen last year for the salaried employees. It was all over the map. So my concern is we're saying now yes, hourly people are getting 2%, but there is some equity things on the salaries that when Mrs. Smith presented to us, she gave us her reasoning behind the salaries. And she shared with us the increases that were proposed and why. Based on what they got last year, and then there's certain people doing the same things that were, definitely, they do similar work, but the pay was not the same. And if you look at what was sent to us this afternoon, it really aligns groups that are in the same categories with their salaries. And so from a perspective, the only two positions that I had an issue with, and I'm just going to be frank, it was the controller salary. And I did reach out to Controller Housemaster for transparency. I did talk to her and have a conversation with her. And the mayor's being so dramatic compared to everybody else's. But I understood the reasoning on the rest of the salaries that were presented by Mrs. Smith. So that's why I'm concerned that, again, if we do a flat amount for these salary workers, there's still going to be some people that are not going to be equitably compensated with their peers. And so it doesn't fix it if we make it flat. So that would be my concern. And I just wanted to state that again, that if we do that, it's not going to be equitable.
Then at this point, then I can't strike can I withdraw my request for the amendment at this time?
Pardon? Wait a second.
Am I allowed to withdraw that amendment at this time?
Councilwoman Tillman, so what?
Yes.
What are you saying?
I would like to withdraw my amendment. One moment, please. I would like to withdraw my amendment for the city administrative that was originally proposed at $59,160 with a 20% amended at $53,500. I would like to withdraw that amendment. Am I Attorney Harris, am I allowed to do that?
Yes. That's the only one you made so far. Yes, you are allowed to withdraw the proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can I make a amendment?
Don't I have to remove my second?
Yes, but if she's taking, if that's the action she's taking, the next action, do you agree to withdraw your second?
Do you agree to withdraw your second?
Hesitantly, I'll remove my second.
Councilwoman Deitch?
Yes, and I just want to make sure, did we already vote on this one to do it on third reading, make amendments on third reading?
Yes.
I just want to
Yes.
I want to confirm it. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
I got one question.
Yeah. Councilwoman.
So this
Patrick?
city administrative, that wasn't a new position. That's a position that's currently filled.
Mhm.
Okay. That's what.
Yes. I have nothing further, Chairperson Bliss.
Councilman Dabney?
All right, real quick, I am understanding people that are watching at home, this is for the public. Because I'm having trouble understanding some of it myself. But here it is, I'm about to try to clear this up for you. Last year's salaries, when we had our hourly workers, the proposals that were made by the mayor, this council awarded 100% of all of those salary increases that they were asked for. And we thought those would be bringing them up to salaries that would be competitive with other municipalities, with other people that do similar work and everything like that. So in a sense, they were taken care of to be brought up 100% of proposed salaries, right? So now moving forward to say, okay, now we're going to give 2% to the hourly workers. It kind of makes sense now because they were set up and brought up to speed with their peers and everybody else that does similar work. So now going 2% makes sense. What Angie was saying when we approved the salaries last year, those were not actually put up to what we were trying to get with the proposal of the study, salary study. We'd have brought them up based on the salary study. We would have felt now they're all compensated along with their peers and everything like that. So now 2% would have made sense across the board if they would have been set at the proper starting point for this year. Angie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds as though that's
part of it.
That's where I'm going.
That's part of it.
Yeah, but that's where I'm going. And so now we're in a mode where we're trying to still fix all of our salaried employees to get them up to what is, the market rate or whatever you want to call it, based on other municipalities, similar size, similar responsibilities and everything like that. I wish we would have got it fixed last year. Then we could be not in this conversation this year. But we're working at it. But like I said, from last year, I just don't want the people to think that we're kind of pulling the rug out from under our hourly employees because they got 100% increase last year. What was proposed, they got it all. And some of the salary people, some people got as low as 2%, and then some got up to almost 90% of what the salary proposal said, salary study said they should get. That's why it's still inequitable across the board. So now we're working at I don't know what right now, but that's what happened, just for the public.
Okay, Councilman Paul Prispolinski.
I'm going to make one reference to the statement that was just made, that individual that made 90% of increase last year. Well, that individual didn't have a pay increase for, I think, 13 or 14 years. So, I mean, there was some inequity there. And so I think we got to put that in the right perspective and not make it sound like somebody got an exorbitant raise over their responsibilities. The whole inequity was with that individual didn't have a pay raise for 13 or 14 years. Thank you.
Councilwoman Zygas.
Yes. Oh, Jenkins.
Councilwoman Zygas.
Thank you. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, so, adding on to what Councilman Dabney said, we did have an excellent chart prepared by Mrs. Smith, as everyone mentioned, where the inequities were pretty much smoothed over and people with similar jobs got similar pay. And it was really well done. It was beautiful. And that's what I thought we were going to approve. And then I see this that doesn't even mathematically make sense to me because we need to get those inequities evened out. And I do want to ask about these deleted positions. So when it says delete event planner, does that mean the event planner is no longer going to be a position that's hired?
We will discuss that when that amendment comes up, if it does come up.
And I just want to let the tree board know the arborist has been crossed out as a potentially deleted position. So I don't know, we worked really hard to get that going and I can't believe that's on the list to be crossed out.
Councilman Mack.
And just to piggyback on what Councilman Dabney said, and I'm going to make it real simple as far as I can. It seems to be a correlation between salary and hourly increases. And what Ms. Deitch, Councilwoman Deitch mentioned, they got the full amount last year. And so even going further than that, as the fiscal controlling body, as a council, we seem like we would have to be consistent in our logic of how we do these year to year to year. Now, just last year, if there was no correlation between hourly and salary people, why is that correlation existing now? And is that a correlation we're going to continue in the future? And I just don't think from a budgetary perspective, or even, the positions that may open, that there's no way to make a correlation of increases on salary and hourly positions. And it seems like that's the direction we're going, and I don't think it's possible. Thank you.
Councilwoman Deitch.
I'll defer to Councilwoman Tillman.
Okay, go ahead, Councilwoman Tillman.
So with me withdrawing that, am I able to move on to the next?
Yes.
And going down, let me go down to my list. Okay. So what has been presented before you in regards to the recommendations for the amendments? And there are some things that, as Councilwoman Ziggins questioned in regards why some of those positions have been deleted. Unless those are amended recommendations that I will verbally state, or someone else that is wanting to make amendments to those. Other than that, I will not adhere to those. The only other two that is getting ready to come up, and then I do make a recommendation to amend removing the recreational director.
I support that.
There's been a motion to remove the recreational director. Yeah, number 10. And Councilwoman Deitch, I believe, seconded that.
Yes.
So there's been a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on that amendment? Okay. Any public comment on the recreational director? Any public comment on removing the recreational director? Having none, any council comment? Councilman Mack.
I would like to see us have a recreational director. I think our lack of programming for youth is directly tied to not having that position. We need to get better at it. I mean, we have to get the position to get better at it. If we're going to, we've got a request for quotes for a rec center, and it just would seem that the future that we would like, where we start having programming for these kids and have adult supervision on some of the park department activities like the larger cities do have, and even smaller cities, that even if we get a C- in doing that task, it just needs to start at some point so that we can do that. A city without a true, park and recreational programming piece is not maximizing the potential of the citizen.
Any other council comments?
Yes.
Ben Simmons.
I concur with Councilman Mack on the recreational direction.
Councilwoman Deitch.
Yeah, the reason why I'm supportive of that, I haven't seen any proof of, we canceled our camp this summer. And there are organizations in the community. I'd rather allow the Y to expand free programming to our residents and us support that in the meantime until we get a better understanding of what is going to happen. I don't think I saw a full plan for it, but I know when they didn't when they split that role and increased the pay for the assistant superintendent, that that was part of the deal, is that they will handle some of that, is what I understood, for the assistant superintendent for the park department. And I'm just trying to understand, I know how busy it is in the summer, but in the off months, I would like to see, some small programs or to see before we go creating a brand new position with it's always coming back to some of the things that we are obligated to do. So I fully would support some small programming, even a contract with someone first before we jump out there and hire someone and or maybe not getting anybody to apply for it because we've been struggling and everybody in the whole entire county is struggling to fill these positions. So we have the Y hired a new program person that's Michigan City High School graduate, went off to college, came back, and he's doing programming at the YMCA. I'd rather see us support some of those programs through ARPA or something and see how those programs work and what we can do to offset the cost and make it free. And then make some decisions after we, figure out what our legal obligations. I support it in the future. It just right now, I just think that we haven't proven ourselves to be there yet, just in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, any other Councilwoman Vegas?
Yes, agreeing with Angie that yes, to get a director just to come in here cold is going to be very challenging, and I don't know if we're going to get one. However, are we going to commit that amount of money to programming? Because if you see other small communities, they have all kinds of adult programming, and and we can use our schools. We have a lot of facilities here. We just kind of have to get that organized. So, I mean, what's the guarantee that we're going to spend this kind of a similar amount of money to get programs going? Chess, robotics, whatever, all that stuff, not just after school, but like evening things, gaming. Kids want to do all that stuff. It's like they have nowhere to go and nothing to do. So if we can't hire a recreational director, I want to see that kind of money going into programs, that the Y can do and other organizations can do.
Councilman Paul Przeposki.
I would like to comment that after sitting through these hearings, that when this position was brought forth, there was questions brought out at the hearings, and that I didn't see a big format or any kind of proposal for the recreational director to be doing. And matter of fact, I was thinking about the neighborhood parks. And, I think you got to realize where the park department's at and look at our neighborhood parks. And I remember what the recreational programs were at one time. And of course, yes, this isn't the same time, but you have to have, when you want to create a position, you better have some firm programming on what you're going to do. And I didn't see that. And it was, to me, it was like, I'm going to be point blank, creating an assistant for the zoo, not the zoo, excuse me, the park superintendent. And that might be harsh to say that, but that's what I felt like was going on. And there's more to this recreational program than basketball or baseball. So, people talk about having a recreational facility. Well, there's also other things. There's winter sports too that aren't being taken advantage of. But it's like what Angie brought up about having some programming and maybe some cooperation with the YMCA on having them, since they sounds like they're experienced in some of this stuff. Maybe it is that we get into like some kind of contract with them to start doing it and to start managing the different gymnasiums and stuff for the, for people to do. It does, we don't have to recreate the wheel. I think the wheel's already out there. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
I would like to see us have the recreational director. And this whole conversation kind of reminds me of something that happened back in the last administration when we talked about the police department wanted to do certain amount of raises. Yvonne, I'm going to be looking back at you. I think it almost was it 10%? What was that? 9% increase in salary on the agreement that they would not fund as many officers. And we passed that as a council, but now down the line, we're in a position where we need officers. So I see in my mind, the need has changed. I think we do need the recreational director, even though they made an agreement before to say, okay, we'll take on those duties for raises. But now in my mind, it looks like to me, times have changed. And I think we do need a recreational director. So it kind of reminds me of that whole thing that happened before with the police, where they got a certain percent, 9% raise when the rest of the city was around 2-3%, if I'm not mistaken, from that year. But they said they would have less officers, but now we're in a position where we need more officers, even though we did give those raises back then. So I would like to see the recreational director. It's not a big argumentative point where to kind of stick to some idea or ideological thought, but I would like to see somebody have a chance at becoming a recreational director and see what kind of programs we can get in conjunction with us, the city, the school system, and so forth. So that's all. That's where I'm at.
Okay, Councilman Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, I got, so with this, if this position were to be created, this recreational director, would the additional salary that was given to the assistant superintendent be removed and go toward this, since that portion was to be reflective of doing part of the recreation? I don't know who answered that question, but I got the sentiment, I think, from the audience. Would that be correct, though, to do it that way?
Anybody want to answer the question?
I would direct that question to Controller Hoffmaster if she's still present.
Yeah, she's just got up.
Here.
She's going.
Okay.
No, we are not reducing anybody's salary.
Yeah.
Okay, any other council comments? Having none. Ms. Nyla on the vote?
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Nay.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Nay.
We have 5 in favor and 4 opposed.
Can I refute I meant nay on that.
Okay. Here. Okay.
Yeah.
I got caught up in all the dialogue.
Can we have a motion? Make a motion to reconsider the vote?
Second.
Yeah, just for our point of clarity, whenever there's a situation where you inadvertently vote yes or no.
Yep, it happened to me the last council meeting.
Yes, it has happened. We can see the motion to reconsider. Error or misunderstanding.
Attorney Harris, do we need to vote on that motion to reconsider and then have the amendment reread so it's clear without any discussion?
Take a vote, take a vote.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you have to vote for a redo. That's basically what it says.
Okay, now at the redo, do we go through all the discussion again as well?
You don't have.
It's,
It's redundant. It's the same thing. He just wants to correct the error.
Okay, so I'll vote for it just to do the vote again. Right. yeah.
Okay.
No more-
So,
no
all
more
right,
discussion.
Councilman Fitzpatrick is making a motion to.
Yeah, the motion was to reconsider the vote, not
Okay.
the amendment, the vote.
Is there a sec, do we have, get a second?
Okay, so
who
that
said-
was
who
Sean,
seconded that?
second by who?
Michael Mack did it, second by Sean. He already did the motion to reconsider.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Okay,
on the vote,
wow. Mr. Don Prespolinski,
aye.
Mr. Simmons,
This is to reconsider, right?
yes.
Aye.
No,
Mr.
wait,
Jigus,
Point of order, point of order.
No order.
Can we have the amendment read again?
First, let's reconsider.
Oh, we just reconsidering. Oh, okay,
Right now.
okay.
okay, Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
and Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
There's 9 in favor to reconsider and no one opposed.
I too, I didn't vote.
Okay, so now we are going back to do number 10, to do the vote.
And the vote is for the deletion of
Voting
the
is
rec.
for the
Deletion of the
amendment.
recreational.
elimination of the recreational director from the budget. Yes is to delete
We are
and no
going
is to keep it.
Mr. Simmons. Nay.
Nay.
Ms. Jigus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
and Mr. Don Prespolinski.
Aye.
What did I do? I got 5 in favor and 4 opposed. What did I do? That's right. Okay. Okay, what's next?
Don switched.
In favor.
All right.
Move it.
Don went the other way.
Okay,
Okay,
next amendment.
Tracy. you have-
I have no further amendments on the salaries. We can move to the next.
Yeah, I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess and we will reconvene at 10 minutes to 9 on the head.
Wait. What timer? Okay.
I think I'm smart.
Call the council meeting back to order. Ms. Nyla? No,
Nope.
yeah, don't.
No.
We left off on the
Amendment.
annual salaries. No, not, okay, here we go. Back up. Yeah, amendments.
No.
For
Tracy.
setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees. Are there any more amendments to be made?
No more amendments to this ordinance
Okay, thank you.
From you.
from me.
Okay. Are there any other, excuse me, amendments? Pardon? No, we are on ordinance setting salaries and wages for appointed officials and employees.
Either one of you.
We're
make
doing
the
amendments. We're not finishing the amendments up on that. Are there any more amendments to be made to this ordinance?
That's what I believe that, yeah. One.
We're not there yet. No, it's on here.
We need to look at the.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I'm sorry, Fund 101, that's Amendment 5 would be to, the budget estimate salary is, 79,560 to amend it down to $75,290 under the, premise that they, this was considered by the Finance Committee, and that we believe the not to target anybody, but that they have additional funds coming into that office through I believe the water department and sanitation for doing accounting. So they are going to distribute those funds through however they means, and they're decided, but I believe that the controller is compensated through that funding mechanism, just like the mayor. And I believe that the funding is adequate, and salary's adequate also. I know that some people won't agree, but I mean, I don't have a concrete number of the salary with the stipends from the water department and sanitation for accounting purposes. So I'm making that amendment, please.
Okay, there's been an amendment made by Councilman Pryzbylewski. Is there a second on that amendment?
I'm second.
Yeah, the amendment
Hear
is,
anything that was said of what his amendment was.
okay, can you hear me, Councilwoman?
Now I can, yes.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and read it. Okay, I'll read the amendment. I'm not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, talk all the explanation the councilman gave. Okay, so we're talking about the controller salary fund 101.
Okay.
Current salary is $71,000. The budget estimated salary of $79,560, and amend to $75,290.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So that amendment has been made. Is there a second on that amendment? Councilwoman Tracy Tillman has seconded that amendment. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on that amendment?
Yvonne Hoffmaster, City Controller. I just wanted to clear up a statement that Councilman Paul Pryzbylewski made about the money that the city receives from the sanitary district and the water department. None of those fund the controller's salary. I just wanted this council to be aware of that.
Where's that?
Councilman Pryzbylewski.
Where's that money go? Is it
Well, the money
distributed
goes
to
in,
the office?
it goes into the general fund as miscellaneous revenue to assist with funding the budget. But specifically for the controller's office, that money was the MOU with the sanitary district is for the assistant controller's position.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment on this amendment? Any other public comment on this amendment? Having none, is there any council comment on this amendment? Any council comment on this amendment? Any council comment on this amendment? Having none? Ms. Nylam on the vote?
Ms. Jigus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Ms. Tillman,
Tracy?
Ms.
She
Tillman,
froze.
She froze up.
Jeez.
Got to come back to her.
okay. Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Nay.
and Ms. Tracy, are you back?
She's gonna have to log back in. Oh, she's probably gonna log right back in. I'll call her.
Mr. Attorney?
Yes.
Oh, I'm calling her now.
Or something new happened.
What's that?
Otherwise, we're gonna take a bunch.
She just sent me a text saying she's trying to log back in. Technology. Attorney Harris, there already is amendment for we can do changes on third reading. Do we just move on and it fails?
No, I'll give Councilwoman Tillman a
Okay.
chance to get back on. You know, she knows how important her votes are, so I'm sure she's trying her best to.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, Attorney Harris. So, you know, this has never happened before. So, yeah, so take for example, so if she doesn't get back on, okay, we got all this stuff.
Yeah.
The vote on. Do we still proceed or do we just cancel the?
It's as though she did not vote. If she doesn't log back in.
Right.
It's as though she did not vote.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand it, but we just keep moving on.
Yeah, you
with
keep
the,
moving on. Yeah.
How will we go back with this?
Someone gets it back, it is possible, yes.
See the next one.
I have a question. I used to talk about
Hold on. Yeah. Approve that all. That, and that was what she was getting. We did that already, so she didn't mind.
Yeah, right.
Because she knew that could happen. Yeah.
Whatever we vote on tonight.
Yes, yeah.
After this.
Yes. You voted for
the last.
Yes, but you already did.
Each round.
Yeah.
Yeah, each one.
Right.
If you're going to change.
And this one you.
Yeah, we have.
They have. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's correct.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you getting, are you being able? Sign my paperwork too. I'm cleaning up my mess.
You got enough today.
You don't
Right for you.
No.
Yes. You gonna do. Yeah. I know I'm going to jail. I am. I'll save me. Yeah, bad money. They will prevail.
Angie?
Yes.
Yeah, the discussion came up, as far as if you would call Tracy and maybe you could FaceTime her on your phone where we could see her and she could still vote in that manner. Because I called her, she said she's having problems with her Wi-Fi and that both of her phones and her computers are, not working properly because of that.
I would say that for sake of integrity, though, that she would have to be logged on to the Zoom so that everybody could see her, and not through like a third party phone. She could use her cell phone and do video. She can log into Zoom on her phone, and use her data, but I wouldn't. I don't think there's a way to do that. I would think, for sake of integrity, that she will have to log into the Zoom. And Attorney Harris, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, it's a unique situation. Obviously, this isn't something that comes up all the time. I think she is FaceTime into the meeting right now through another phone. And I think it's just up to the chair within his discretion to accept that as a valid attendance or not. Can be seen and heard,
But she has to be seen. I thought the ruling was that the public has to be able to see and hear her.
yeah, and unless she's up here on the podium or something, that does make it difficult. I agree with you.
They're saying because the public can't see you, so the public has to be able to hear and see.
So she would need to log into Zoom on her phone. Okay.
What about your data, regular citizen data? Oh, but if you call Angie, FaceTime Angie, they say you can hold your phone. She can hold the phone FaceTime. No, I don't know. All right, well, I guess we might have to move on.
I think you just move on with the votes without Tracy.
It's up to you, but it is a valid.
Yeah.
Right, but She's holding the phone. We can hear her. Then the public. That's correct. Okay, Angie,
Yes.
yeah, if she does this FaceTime with you and you're holding your phone up where we can see her with you, then the public can see you and her and hear her.
All right, I will try that. All right,
That,
okay,
I think would make sense.
Okay.
So if you can
Okay.
try that, let's see what
all
happens.
righty. All righty then.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Evening at the Improv.
This has never happened before, so we'll just work our way through it.
I apologize.
Oh, he's there. Look. That's a wonderful picture. I think we're ready to move on.
Okay. My
Okay.
apologies to all.
And when technology fails, technology prevails.
Right.
Okay,
Ms. Tillman, a vote on the amendment for the controller.
yeah, Tracy, we're talking about the amendment for the controller.
Aye.
She said aye.
Okay, we have 5 in favor and 4 opposed.
Okay, are there any more amendments? Any more amendments for the salary positions before we move on to the mayor's salary? Number.
Are we moved on to the next one? Okay.
I would like to. Then. The event planner. Okay, there's been a motion to delete the position of non-event planner.
All right, I'm sorry, technology.
Thank you.
The administrative assistant for the event planner at $40,768.
Okay, there's been a motion to delete and eliminate the administrative assistant 2, which is the assistant to the event planner at $40,768. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to delete that. Are there any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Any comments from the council? Any comments from the council? Any council comments? Being none, Ms. Nyla on the vote?
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Ms. Tillman?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Nay.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Nay.
and Ms. Jigus.
Nay.
We have 4 in favor and 5 opposed.
Okay. Now, I would like to make a amendment on the administrative assistant at, I believe it's in the mayor's office at 42,889 to delete that. Since you have, that's amendment number 8. And that is, I believe that the mayor has somebody in his office, and we need to look at how much money you got, what you're doing out here with the money. And I believe that it's not a needed position at this time.
Been a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
I'm back on.
Second by Councilman Fitzpatrick. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this amendment? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this amendment?
Nico Smith, 115 Logan. I just need to point out,
Can you speak up a little louder, please? It doesn't even sound like that's on.
I can hear.
There you go.
okay, the position in the mayor's office is not filled. That administrative position that you're trying to delete or proposing to delete, there is no one in that position at this time. So it's not.
I can't make that.
I
I can't make it out.
I said that the position in the mayor's office, the administrative assistant position that you're referring to, it is not currently filled. So
Right.
there is no one in that position.
Right.
You're saying you don't think that position is needed? Is that? Okay.
It's not even filmed.
Okay, there's been a motion, or anyone else from the public wish to speak on this amendment? Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this amendment? Having none? Ms. Nyla?
I had a comment. Ooh, I'm sorry, I had a comment.
Deitch?
Yeah, we've been funding this for 2 years and it hasn't been filled, but I will say that when people go on vacation and other things, I just thought it was a necessary position, but I guess it would be the will of council on this one. But I think with the number of complaints and things that are coming in, that I don't know who fills in when there's nobody in there. I haven't seen Mrs. Buettner in there much lately, answering any phones or anything. So I don't know. I know she was doing kind of part-time at one point, and now it's just been, whenever Mr. Yagelski is doing building stuff and everything else, and I don't know who answers the phones when he's not answering them, but isn't this a secretarial position? I know.
I would think so. It's an administrative position, administrative assistant.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. Mr. Dabney, you have a comment? Your light's on.
I'm ready to vote.
Okay. We already did it. Public comment.
Yeah, just one thing. How in God's green earth did we end up with administration assistants to administration assistants? What is this? I don't get it. I'm sitting here listening to this and it's redundant.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a comment. This position hasn't been filled, I believe, for a good year and a half, possibly 2 years. And when Mr. Yagelski's gone, it either goes to an answering machine, or you call the mayor's office direct, or Miss Butner answers it. And I think everything's been going just fine. I haven't heard one complaint that, hey, we need another hand in the mayor's office to answer the phone. So I totally agree that I don't think this is necessary at this time. Maybe when our city grows by the expected 5,000 to 6,000 people with the double track coming into town and things get bigger and busier, that possibly we may need it at that possible time. So I just want to make that comment. That being said, Ms. Nyla, want to vote?
Ms. Tillman? Ms. Tillman?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to grasp all my thoughts with everything that was just said. And this is for the administrative assistant, correct?
Yes.
Nay.
Mr. Dabney?
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Nay.
Ms. Deitch?
Nay.
Mr. Don Prespolinski?
Aye.
Mr. Simmons?
Nay.
Ms. Jigus?
Nay.
And Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Aye.
We have 3 in favor and 6 opposed.
Okay, Ms. Nyla, our next ordinance on second reading. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought we were done. Any more amendments?
Yes, I
Councilman Prespolinski?
have one also on number 14, arborist. That position is not filled right now. And in our budget hearings, the mayor has no intentions on filling it in the near future. He was talking about, he made references to an individual that's graduating from college next year. And from what I understand, that individual will not have the certifications that are needed. And I also do know that an individual that has his certifications did apply for that position and is a local person and was not accepted, I guess, by the tree board or the mayor's office, because according to the ordinance, the mayor has the final say on hiring. So the problem is that we're going to hold a job open and that individual isn't, from what my understanding is, qualified. But I'm not going to deny that we need an arborist. I mean, I would like to have somebody even contracted out. We're not doing that either. So we're supposed to be a Tree City USA. And we do need that position. So at this time, I do not believe, since it's not being filled and it's no intention on filling it, that it should be deleted from the budget, and that at the time that the mayor deems it necessary, we fund that program. So we don't give the mayor a blank check on who he wants to hire. Thank you.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? Councilwoman Vegas?
Yeah, well, I don't have a second.
Okay. Is there a second? No. Okay, the motion dies for lack of a second.
Okay, and I have another motion in regards to the city engineer. I believe that $99,927 should be deleted, because I think it makes good fiscal sense, because we are now, I believe, have contracts with 3 different firms. and one with Primera, and one with Haas and Associates, and okay, that's my motion. Just to eliminate the position because we're already in contracts, and with John Doyle, we're in a contract for I think 150,000 right now. So I mean, until we fund the position or we get a candidate, then we can come back and fund it. Thank you.
Okay, is there a second on the motion? Is there a second on the motion? I will second the motion. Is there any comments from the public?
Wayne Perry, Mayor of Michigan City. That is incorrect that I have no intention of hiring a city engineer. We are trying, is a shortage of engineers in Michigan City. And I'll remind the council that there's a statute requirement that on the planning commission and on the sanitary district board, a voting member is the city engineer. It cannot be filled with just a PE. And not that a PE is just a PE, they're extremely qualified people, but it has to be the city engineer.
If I may, can I ask the mayor a question?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
How long has it been? Do we have a PE, a professional engineer seated on the sanitary board right now? Or is he just filling in?
To my knowledge, we do not.
Okay, so with that argument, I know it's a statutory requirement, but we don't have one. So the other point is that why isn't that? I'm not going to go any further in that because that's a
Try to get one.
function.
Okay, since this falls under the mayor's direction for a city engineer, and I know that it's $99,000 for a city engineer, and we've had this discussion before, and we know that we can't get a engineer for less than, I don't know, 130, 140,000. I guess that's what a professional engineer would go for. How come the city, if we want to get a city engineer, how come we're not paying somewhere in the neighborhood of what will attract someone for that position? Well, part-time, full-time, what have you. I mean, you're not going to get one. So I would just like a explanation from the mayor as far as that goes.
We couldn't get one before because we were offering to pay only 70.
Right.
Now with this salary ordinance, we're bumping it up to 99, and we are advertising several places, Indeed, on our website. So I anticipate that we will get one. That's all we can afford unless you're willing to go more.
If it would have been on here, maybe we would have. With that being said, is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Is there anyone else from the public wishes to speak on this amendment? Having none? Ms. Nyla, on the vote?
What about the council? You guys?
Pardon?
The council has any more comments?
No,
Yeah,
Does the
I
council
have
any
my,
comments?
I have hit my light, but I guess you just didn't.
I didn't see it.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna comment, 99,927. Why not make it 100 or something, at least? I mean, I don't get that.
If I may.
Councilman Simmons, are you done? Okay, Councilman
Yeah.
Paulowski.
Councilman Simmons, I talked to a PE that's local. And even a part-time position, he would look at somewhere in the neighborhood of 120,000. But the fact of the matter is that I brought this up to bring attention to the fact that I do understand the statutory requirements of the city of Michigan City and what the statutory authority that the city engineer has. So I think that, you know, the discussion we have here tonight, not to be passe about it, is to be literally about it, that it needs to be funded at a higher position. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to talk about, you know, this is, you want a professional individual, that's what you got to pay. That's what the market calls for, And besides that, it might even be more than that because everything has gone up in the neighborhood of 20%. Building supplies, plumbing supplies, food, so I didn't ask for any, smart aleck comments tonight, but I'll take them. Thank you.
I do have a comment.
Councilwoman Deitch.
I would say for the engineer, I think reposting at the higher rate, since it would be part-time, at least we need to see, because maybe we would get some that just passed the PE and don't want to leave the region that could possibly want some municipal experience. So, I think that it's a big jump. I think it's the right jump to see if the market can bear it. And if so, some people are looking for experience coming out of college and working in municipal government, especially if they're going to grad school or something. So, I support, that wage. I think it's reasonable for that position at this time. If you're talking seasoned engineers, and I know it's going to be hard to find someone, but I don't even think, even if we did raise it that high, that you're going to get a seasoned person to leave another position to come here. So at least I think it's we should give it a shot at least and see what happens. And if we get some qualified applicants, and if not, we can come back for an additional appropriation to increase it. And that's coming from an engineer.
Any other council comments? Councilman Dabney?
No.
Okay, can't see your light. I was just wondering. All right, thank you. Ms. Nyland, on the vote.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Nay.
Mr. Mack,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Nay.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Nay.
Mr. Simmons,
Nay.
Ms. Jagus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
and Ms. Tillman.
Nay.
We have 1 in favor and 8 opposed.
Okay. Are we done with amendments on that ordinance? Any more amendments? Any more amendments? Going once, twice,
3 times. We are done with that amendment. Ms. Nyla? Please read the 8th ordinance on second reading by title only. An ordinance setting the annual salary for the mayor.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary of the mayor. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Paul, Mr. Gabney, and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
And do the sponsors have anything that they would care to add at this time?
I would like to make an amendment
Go ahead, Councilwoman Tillman.
for Fund 103, mayor salary current at 2022 salary of $79,410. The budget estimate salary of $101,541. I'm requesting an amendment to $88,000.
Support. And that.
There's been a motion by Councilwoman Tillman and seconded by Councilman Fitzpatrick. Is there anyone from the is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance?
Tommy Klovic, 1316 Ohio Street. I have another statute that I want to read. I read this last year when he was looking to get his big fat raise, and I'm going to read this again. And this statute not only applies and pertains to the mayor of Michigan City, or particularly Mayor Dwayne Arthur Perry. This pertains and applies to every mayor of every city of the second class and every mayor of the city of the third class across the state of Indiana. And this is Indiana Code 36-4-3, Powers and Duties, Section 3. The executive shall, and the executive of the city is the mayor. Article 1, enforce the ordinance of the city and the statutes of the state. Article 2, provide a statement of the finances and general condition of the city to the city legislative body at least once a year. That's why he's got to give the state of the city address every year. Article 3, provide any information regarding city affairs to the legislative body requests. Article 4, recommend in writing to the legislative body actions that the executive considers proper. Article 5, call special meetings of the legislative body when necessary. Article 6, supervise subordinate officers. These next two are doozies. Article 7, ensure efficient government of the city. Article 8, fill vacancies in city offices when you're required by Indiana Code 3-13-8. Article 9, sign all bonds, deeds, contracts of the city and all licenses issued by the city. And this was covered when we let off the meeting. Article 10, approve veto ordinance, orders, and resolutions of the legislative body under Indiana Code 36-4-6-15. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klavic. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this amendment? Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this amendment? Having none, any council comments on this amendment? Councilman Paul Przybylski.
Yes, I have a comment that I believe is very germane to this salary. That this problem that we had with this annexation, that I believe that the council should have had a meeting or a workshop or something when we first took office so we could plan for this. And I believe that it was directly the direct responsibility of the administration to sit down with us and have brought this to our attention as the fiscal body so that we could have been preparing ourselves for the last 2 years on this mega expense that we're looking at. So I agree with cutting this salary because I don't believe that the mayor in my personal opinion, is at 100,000 is just too much, because I think there's been lacking in what's going on here in the city. And I'm deeply concerned about how this annexation is going to affect the ratepayers. Thank you.
Any other comments by Councilman Mack?
This is a comment based on, and I've made a version of this comment before. I don't think these salaries, and especially the mayor's salaries, should be based on past performance. It should be based on future expectations. If any of these numbers, you're just not looking at what you want your future to be like. You're basing everything on, you know, if you're unhappy with the mayor's performance, then actually what you're doing is basing the future of the city on what you consider the least performative. So you're guaranteeing that you're going to continue to get that. You're never going to aspire to anything greater if you constantly pay as if you're not trying to increase the betterment of the city. So I'm in agreement of a mayor of Michigan City with all we've got going. So we can get a salary that will attract a lot more competition in this next. And it's nothing to do with our current mayor. That when our next election comes, we want a body of people incentivized to be the mayor of Michigan City, as opposed to it being a charity work. Some of us would have to take a pay cut to actually become the mayor of Michigan City. Some of us hourly workers would have to take a pay cut to become the mayor of a city with a bright future. So it's nothing to do with the current mayor. I really do think we need to move that needle so we can start attracting the things that we would like to become.
Any other comments by council members?
Yeah, but
Councilman Fitzpatrick?
yeah, I actually agree with what Councilman Mack just said, and that makes a lot of sense. However, this election cycle or this administration wouldn't end till the end of 2023. So this salary would go for that. If this was proposed next year and it would go to the incoming mayor, whoever that is, depending on the election, I would be in agreement with it. But for right now, no, I can't see it. I can't see it at all. Thanks.
Okay, any other comments? Having none? Ms. Nyla? On. Okay, and I have a comment. So backing off, not on the vote yet. All right, so the 88,000 that this is being proposed for, is that included the water and the sanitary monies of $20,000?
Yes.
Pardon? No, so my question is that $88,000 that we're amending here, yeah, that includes the 20,000 from the water and, okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Just wanted to be clear on that. So that, yeah, the public, and I don't know if the public's aware of this, that $20,000 of this raise, 10,000 is coming from the water department, 10,000 is coming from the sanitary district, which is a legal means of financing the mayor's, or I guess the chief executive officer of the city, that they can do that. So with that being said, Ms. Nyla, on the vote.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
and Mr. Dabney.
Nay.
We have 6 in favor and 3 opposed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nyla. Oh, would you please read the ninth ordinance on reading by title only?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salary for the city clerk. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Paul Prespolinski, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
And do the authors have anything that they'd like to add at this time?
I have no recommendations for amendments.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments from council members, sponsors? Having none, anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Public comment is now closed. And are there any council comments? Any council comments? No council comments, Ms. Nyland? Not Ms. Nyland. This ordinance will be held over for third reading at our October 4th, 2022 meeting. Ms. Nyland, read our 10th ordinance on second reading by title only.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, establishing the salary for the Michigan City Police Department for the calendar year 2023. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Paul Prespolinski, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
And do the authors have anything that they'd like to add at this time? Having none, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Having none, is there any council comment? Any council comment? Any council comment? Having none, this will be held over for third reading at our October 4th meeting. Ms. Nyla, would you please read the 11th ordinance on second reading by title only? An ordinance establishing salaries for the fire department of the city of Michigan City for the calendar year 2023.
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance establishing salaries for the fire department of the city of Michigan City for the calendar year 2023. And this is also introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Paul Prespolinski, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
And do the authors have anything that they'd like to add at this time? Having none, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wishes to speak on this ordinance? Having none, are there any council comments? No council comments. This ordinance will be held over for third reading at our October 4th meeting. Ms. Nyla, would you please read the 12th ordinance on second reading by title only?
An ordinance on second reading by title only, an ordinance setting the annual salaries for the common council members. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman, Mr. Paul Prespolinski, Mr. Dabney, and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
And do the authors have anything that they would like to add at this time? Councilman Paul Prespolinski.
I would like to offer an amendment that reduces our proposed salary by 2%, which is right now our salary is 15,045, and reduce it down to 14,736.
Okay, there's been a motion made. Is there a second? To reduce the salary?
Second.
There's a second by Councilman Fitzpatrick. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this or amendment? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this amendment? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this amendment? Having none, any council comments?
I got a
on this
comment.
amendment. Yeah, Councilwoman Zagus.
Yes, based on the comments Michael Mack had earlier, if we want to attract better people, we might want to try to inch that up. It just seems like we're suffering from a little bit of low self-esteem here. That's all. Thanks.
Councilman Fitzpatrick.
For all of the positions that need to be based off pay, I think this is definitely one that should not. Because I don't think you need people up here that need the money. You need people up here that are gonna look at this and take this job seriously and do their job objectively, not based on a paycheck. If I had the paycheck for this or not, I'd still do it. And it's not gonna make me or break me one way or another. So that's why I could take my time, and I know I'm not fighting for a paycheck or looking to be reelected to make the decisions I make while I'm sitting here. I'm doing it because I'm doing the right thing for the community, in my opinion. And it's not about the money, so I don't need it. Thank you.
Councilman Matt.
In a sense, I agree with Councilman Fitzpatrick in the sense that you do it for other than money, but you guarantee to get people like ourselves. I have a full-time job. The salary is of not a large consequence. It's not important to my raising my family and kids. We need to begin to get under 40-year-olds and pass the torch. And there is never, ever going to be a torch pass to important positions in government at a salary that competes with, part-time retail workers. You don't, so I just really believe that we, at some point, and it's much bigger than just Michigan City, that we need to begin to attract, retain, and transition to the next group of people that are going to have to manage this city. And I don't think it's possible to do that adequately, trying to find the lowest common denominator for people, or people that are willing to work two jobs in order to do a service to the community and improve your community.
Councilman
I have a
Paul
comment.
Kulinski.
I'll yield to you.
Oh,
So-
okay. Councilwoman Deitch, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll make a couple of comments about it. So one of the things that I was just I'm in a training at a conference, and it's for the younger group. It said it's not even about the money; it's about lifestyle and quality of life than it is over money. Because most, including myself, have quit jobs making six figures because it's about the impact that you're making with people. And it could also cause a negative effect. I'm not going to name the city in Indiana, but there is a city in Indiana that has very high wages, and very ugly and sometimes criminal things have happened because of it. So I just don't want us to get too far. I believe, raises are good. I do. I agree with that. I just don't want us to look at it from a moral standpoint when we start talking about doing a civic duty, because this is really a volunteer position and job for us. And hopefully we can get more people to want to do it, but they're not going to do it because of money. I can tell you that. If they do it, we got to just create a better environment. It's about lifestyle, environment, and impact for them. So, I'll support this amendment. Thank you.
Councilman Pryzbylewski.
I'll say that with the my previous service on the city council, that we never I don't ever remember passing a increase while we were serving our tenure. It was always put in to the next year's budget, and then with the philosophy that the voters will either elect you because they feel you're worth it, and you knew what the position paid when you ran for the office. And I do agree with, saw a lot of the stuff that, you know, it is, civic duty, I guess, but you have to be, motivated in more ways than just the money. You have to be motivated because you care and that you really want to have a positive impact in the city. So I believe that this should always come in when you're going up for, if you want to have a pay increase, which I have never done this job I have never, ever done this job for the pay. And I felt that it was always because I care about my neighborhood. I care about people I know in the neighborhood, and I care about people that live in the city, and to try to make a positive impact. So I'm not, that's why I made the amendment. And I believe that's, you know, that it's civic, it's your civic, I won't say civic duty, it's your civic pride that you want to serve your city and your community. Thank you.
Mr. Dabney, Councilman Dabney?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I've listened to this argument over and over and over, been going on 6 years now. And if it's for the council, should it be that way for all elected officials? That's civic duty as well. But the council, you know, I understand that it puts this narrative out in the public. No, I'm not going to give myself a raise because, you know, people get mad, give yourself a raise. The chance was there for the amendment to say to do raises or whatever and bring it in with the next council. That wasn't made, but it was made in the comment, wasn't made in the amendment. And so every job that I've taken, I've known the salary when I started that position. All of us knew the salary when we started these positions, whatever. But that argument just seems to fall flat to me. If you're going to hold one group of civic, how do you want to say, servants, public servants, why not hold them all? And it just kind of rings a little hollow to me to hear the argument come up with this. But we have other positions that, you know, we continue to give raises, but we're all supposed to be doing our civic duty. So it's kind of odd. You know, I know that sounds good when the public hear that we didn't give ourselves raises. And, you know, somebody's going to have objection to my comment that is when it ends up in the paper next week or whatever it makes it to the paper. But it just rings a little hollow to me to say it just for us, but a bunch of other people out here that are working for the city. And we continue to give them raises. You know, it's just kind of odd to me that this only comes up when it comes to us. Then, if raises were to happen for city council members, you could donate your salary if you felt that way. But I understand the argument. I understand the optics of the argument as well. So I'll leave it at that. But, you know, the other people that are in these civic duty positions understood salary when they started them as well.
Okay, just a closing comment on this amendment is that when I ran for office 12 years ago, I didn't run because it paid, I don't know, $11,000 or $12,000, whatever it paid. I didn't even look at that. I just looked at it to run for the city council because I wanted to be on the council and I wanted to make a difference every day. When I get out of bed, I want to make a difference to make this city better. And that's exactly where I stand today, that, okay, I will give a raise next year and give a raise to the incoming council for them. I'm not going to give myself a raise. Not to make it sound good in any public eye or election year or what have you. I could care less about that. That's just my philosophy. That's how I deal with this office. I do it because I love the city. I do it because I'm passionate about making the city better. And if I get paid $14,000 a year, that's what I get paid. And you know, and the argument that, well, we need to boost the money up so we get more people to run for the office. Well, every time I ran for councilman at large, I've always had 6 people running against me. So there's always people that are wanting to run for office. So I don't think that argument holds very well. I mean, what are we going to have to increase the salary to? 20,000, 24,000 to get somebody to run for a city council seat? Or to me, it's you know, you make out of this seat what you want to. You can make it a full-time job, you can make it a part-time job, but you don't have to do anything at all. And yeah, so I agree with the amendment. I'm not asking for a raise. I don't want a raise. And the $14,000 we make right now is not going to make me or break me, whether I sit in this seat or not. So I'm going to totally approve the amendment. Thank you.
Yes, any other comments? Moving on, Mr. Island, on the vote.
Mr. Mack,
Nay.
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski.
Definitely nay.
Oh. You want your raise? It's no lose.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Hey,
and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
I would like to reconsider my vote at this time.
There's been a
motion.
yeah, there's been a motion to reconsider. Is there a second?
But even with that.
Second.
5-4,
You still would have won. It still would have passed.
even with that mistake, it's still 5-4. Do you want to reconsider?
Yeah, I do. I want to go on the record because it's not hollow to me. Thank you.
Yeah, there's been a motion
All right, Ben.
and a second to reconsider.
Okay, wait a minute, you guys.
Ms. Nyla want to vote?
Okay, there was
Laugh
a
at
motion
tone.
and a second. Who's the motion? Who's the second?
Pardon?
Who's the motion to reconsider? Paul?
Paul, Councilman
Okay, and we have a
Prespolinski,
second
Councilman
by-
Dabney made the second. Ms. Nyla want to vote?
Ms. Deitch,
Aye.
Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Aye.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski, Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Yeah, aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack.
Aye.
Now we are reconsidering the amendment to the council. Mr. Don,
That's correct.
on the vote, correct. Mr. Don Prespolinski,
Aye.
Mr. Simmons,
Aye.
Ms. Jagus,
Nay.
Mr. Paul Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Nay.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Mr. Mack,
Nay.
and Ms. Deitch.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and 3 opposed.
Okay, this ordinance will be held over for third reading at our October 4th meeting. Under new business, there is no new business this evening. Under unfinished business, there's nominations for the council has the following appointments to the Commission of Social Status of African American Males. And these terms expire 2/15/22. So we still haven't made any progress on getting those filled. Yes.
I have filed to serve the remainder of Dr. Wendell McCollum's term for the Michigan City area schools on the tenure. Okay, because I'm a 29-year resident of LaPorte County and taxpayer of the Michigan City area schools.
Okay.
Qualified, and it's.
Okay, did you file with the
Yes, I filed with the clerk's office. filed yesterday.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, comments from the public.
My name is Kathy Stransky. I live at 223 East Barker Ave. And what I'm calling about is Sunday morning at 3:30. For the fourth time, I had shots in the back of my house. And I called 911. And at 3:37, they called me back because my phone I wasn't getting the message out and I was headed out the back door. I seen him. I seen him go back in his house with the gun. I seen him go in the back door and turn off the light. And nobody comes out to talk to me. There has not been one detective in 4 times that has come out and said to me, have you seen him? What is there's cars involved? Sometimes they're on foot. Sometimes they're in cars. But the fact of the matter is, I'm living in that house and nobody cares that I'm getting shot at. So at 3:51 in the morning, I called Paul Presblinsky and I said, Paul, I need help. I have shots. I said, I need help. I'm outside now under the streetlight with my robe and slippers because I need help. At 3:59, I still did not have a squad car. And I called Dwayne Perry at home and said, Dwayne, send me a squad car. And he did. It was 6 minutes before he got there, but that was the closest I had to a squad car. He came there, he gets out of the squad car, and I said to him, I have shots down my alley. And he said, oh, I said, it's right there. He would not go down the alley. He said he would not go down the alley because he had apprehended this guy before. He has taken him to jail, and he claims Mary and John Lake let him go with no consequence, and he's not going to go down that dark alley. I did not go down there that night looking for shells. Had he went down there, I would have went down there, but I ain't going down there alone. Okay? And so then I have not gone down there to look to see if there's shells. My neighbor right behind me has moved out of her house, is letting the bank repossess it because twice they shot through her bedroom wall. My neighbor to the west of me has got bullet holes in his garage. I can't get it resolved. I don't know what to do. I've been on that corner. I've lived on that block 63 years, 43 of it down on that corner. I am not running. I need help. I need help. Thank you.
But I want to comment to your major problem. Not only your problem, because you witness it, and you make the phone calls, but I'm sure there's other neighbors in that block that hear the same thing that you do.
They're scared.
That's what I'm saying, Kathy. They're scared, and people should not live in that type of atmosphere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call Chief Campbell up, and you, myself, and Chief Campbell, and the other 2 assistant chiefs are gonna sit down and have a discussion on how we're gonna correct the problem.
It
Okay,
is scary, Don. It is scary to be in your bed at 3:30 in the morning, sound asleep, and have shots go off. And it happened one time. It was in Fulton Street, and it was not in my alley. 4 times it has been in my alley.
okay. What I would do, if I was in your spot, Mrs. Stransky,
You'd move.
what I would have done, I know I wouldn't have moved, but I'd have been sitting down at the police chief's office the next morning, and I wouldn't have moved until he was going to sit down and talk to me. What you're going through, nobody should go through it. So give me a couple of days. Let me get a hold of the chief of police and get this meeting arranged, and I will be calling you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Councilman Prince-Polinski.
Kathy, just to let you know that we are working on getting some devices in place to help these situations out with.
I realize that, Paul, but here's what I realized. Them echo things, they're gonna be wonderful for somewhere that is not in the middle of town. There are plenty of people that hear it. They have no guts to pick up that phone. I would rather see the money go into hiring officers and getting us some equipment out here with them so that they feel better about going down these dark alleys at 3:30 in the morning.
Well, I will say that we have tried to produce a lucrative contract to hire more police officers. Okay, and I don't know if it's, they hired 8 more guys, I believe, but they're not ready to go out on their own. And I'm not gonna vouch for the police department and how that happened, but you and I did talk about this, and there is an issue with, I think that house need to be maybe shut down as a.
It's a rental. It's a rental.
Right, I know, we talked about it. But I have thought about that, about going to the Board of Works to have it shut down as a public nuisance.
I have gone to the Board of Works before this to talk to them because I asked for a camera. I want them to put a camera on the back of my house, shining down on that yard. I have the pole, I have the electric there. I want a camera there, and I want the camera to work. I want it to be a light. I want a light. And 1 of 2 things are gonna happen, Paul. They're either gonna quit because there's so much light back there, they don't wanna be seen, or they're gonna hit what they're looking for, and we're gonna live peacefully the rest of our lives in that neighborhood.
Well, as soon as we get the other equipment that we appropriated money for, we'll be putting up some lights. I'll be over there putting up some, we have some solar lights that we are working on getting to do exactly that. And I've already volunteered, and I talked to the president of the council about getting, and these are all solar powered. So we'll be working on that lightage.
Yeah, we need it bad back there.
I know.
So thank you. And you didn't time me, I did more than 3.
Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. A few years ago, the county, they started dedicating bridges for extraordinary LaPorte County residents. And a couple months ago, the LaPorte County commissioners, they approved the dedication of a bridge for somebody that's very special to all of us. And I'd like to read what was said during his nomination. The next bridge will be named in honor of Alan Whitlow. Alan Whitlow touched many lives in his career in education and as the director of the Michigan City Boys and Girls Club and his many years of community service. Mr. Whitlow was genuine in his concern for people and mentor who provided direction to plenty of youth. He was born in 1939 and passed away in 2017. Alan Whitlow was a 1957 Elston High School graduate who returned to his alma mater as a teacher and a basketball coach. He was an assistant coach on the 1966 Elston High School state championship basketball team. He was honored to be inducted in the Michigan City Area Schools Hall of Fame in 2006. He later became a junior high school principal, held numerous administrative positions, including superintendent of the Michigan City Area Schools. Alan Whitlow served on the Michigan City Common Council in the early 1980s. He was known on the council as a moral compass. He again served on the council from 2015 until his death in 2017. Mr. Whitlow moved to Indianapolis and was Director of Personnel and Labor Relations for Franklin Township Schools. After retiring from public education, he returned to Michigan City and became Executive Director of the Michigan City Boys and Girls Club from 2001 to 2014. While at the Boys and Girls Club, he provided a positive influence to the lives of the youth in Michigan City. In 2006, Alan Whitlow was named the Michigan City Human Rights Commission Humanitarian of the Year for his generous contribution of time and support and inspiration to the city of Michigan City and its citizens. In 2005, he was awarded the LaPorte County Bar Association Liberty Bell Award, which is awarded to a LaPorte County resident who is recognized for his community service and dedication to good government, civic responsibility. He and his wife Patricia raised their 4 children in Michigan City. He was a pillar in our community. The Bridge Naming Committee would like to name the bridge on Springland Avenue over Trail Creek near Krieger Middle School after him. Another thing I'd like to add is on Saturday, October 1st, there's going to be the March for Peace. It's going to start at Grace and Michigan Boulevard. It's going to hit on the sidewalk. Everybody's going to march along the sidewalk, and it's going to start. They're going to start gathering at 11:30 at Grace Center or the Emmett Wise Center at Grace and Michigan Boulevard. They're going to march up to Westcott Park, and they said the pastors and the bishops are all going to stop and pray at every street corner. So I think that's going to be a really nice event. And I might ask one of the pastors if they'd be willing to baptize me on that day or baptize anybody else that would like to be baptized. And I think that sounds like a wonderful thing. I'd like to encourage everybody to join in. And it's a march for also people who think violence is the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else from the public to speak on any subjects? I know some of you have been sitting out there for a while. Okay. Council comments? Any council comments? Councilwoman Darius Vegas.
Yes, I'd like to say a couple of things. First of all, I spent the last couple of days teaching water quality to Trail Creek Week. So this is like hundreds of students in the area, 4th graders mostly, but there are some older kids too, come to learn about the history, the aquatics, the safety, boat safety, and they get to go on a canoe. So anyway, there's a canoe race this Saturday to raise money for it, and basically sanitary district and I think the Mayor Dermody and Mayor Perry both have canoes bought that are going to be racing down Trail Creek starting at Hanson Park around 10 o'clock. After that, they plan to have a community event where you can probably get in with your family if they have enough room and go up and down Trail Creek and kind of have that experience. So that's really kind of a nice experience. And the second thing is, if we can have the picture pulled up, I'd like to thank Mr. Sean Smith and the Streets Department for putting up our signs. So we are officially Tree City USA for 22 years. And the heavy lifting has been done by the tree board the last 2 years because we haven't had an arborist, but we had to do what we had to do to get the Tree City designation. And also one of our members, Mary Nell Murphy, made sure that we got recognized for being an Indiana bird town. So thank you, Mr. Sean Smith and the Streets Department for putting this sign up. We have another sign up going in I think it's in Washington Park, and then we're gonna get two more, we're gonna get two more signs put up as well. So thank you for doing that.
I have something.
Councilwoman,
Yeah, just a reminder for the maybe before the peaceful march, you can do the Minority Health Partners of LaPorte County do the Real Men Wear Pink breast cancer walk. And that's also on October 1st. And I did talk to Jerry Passmore about that as well. So that is a walk a mile in your shoes, in their shoes at 10 a.m. And it's going to start at HealthLink at 710 Franklin Street. And it's $15 for adults, and students are free. And you must register by September 26th and send only checks or money orders to the Minority Health Partners at 2601 East Michigan Boulevard here in Michigan City. And it's a wonderful thing. And I have family members that are survivors, so I think it's important that we show up for it. Thank you.
Councilman Paul Przybylski.
Thank you, Councilman Don Przybylski and Chair. I have a question. I read this letter that was sent out by the mayor, more or less, I guess, shotgun approaching us on our overriding of what we feel is our obligation and duty to the ratepayers of the city of Michigan City. And Mr. Harris, in the bottom sentence of this cover letter, it says, assuming, this is from the mayor of the city of Michigan City, assuming that you may override my veto by another vote, be informed that I am prepared to petition the Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita requesting an official interpretation and position on your actions in these documents. So with that statement, should this be interpreted as that we're going to go to court? Should it go in front of a judge?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
I saw that correspondence and looked into it. Basically, what the Indiana Attorney General's office has is you can't seek an opinion directly from Todd Rokita, the Attorney General himself, but there is an advisory division of the Attorney General's office, and you can submit a request to them to review situations like this where there's a difference in interpretation of an Indiana statute. And I've had some conversations with some other council members who mentioned this to me too. I've already made inquiries as well. So that's what that process would look like. It'd be a little more administrative than going to court.
Okay. All right. So with that question and where my thought process is this, is many years ago, they expanded, I believe, the sanitary board. I didn't have a problem with that so much as that I felt that maybe the legislation should be put into effect that we have a member on each board that is duly nominated and voted on by the city council. So we have representation on those boards. So I want to bring that up so people start thinking about it, because I'm going to approach our state reps and our state senators, because I think that, see, the problem is that if we would have representation like that, we would be made abreast of what's going on down here at the sanitary district and the water department, because this is a real important thing in what has transpired now. And what we learned at the workshop, we finalized the date that the 3 years are up, and it's next year. So I mean, I think that we need to we need to really focus in on this because we're talking about a big financial bill to the city. And I'm not going to quit harping about it because we can talk all this gibberish we want because we got to have some figures and we're going to be, I'm going to bring, I've talked about and have inquired about bringing some legislation to the council to get this issue going with these boards and to move forward and not wait till that date gets here. And then we're hanging where we could have an injunction against us and start paying big money out. But also I will say this is that, you know, I don't come here to make undue comments. I speak my mind and I speak what's I feel is appropriate. And I want to say that, you know, when you make a comment, just like I try to observe some, I guess a common sense approach. I don't go after somebody's comment or make a innuendo on that individual. But I will say this, you know, we get down to this portion of the meeting and the mayor is out of here, okay? And I think that everybody at every meeting that we come forward is that I'm going to let people know, hey, the mayor's left, so we can't ask them anything. So I think that as elected officials, we all have a responsibility, and if you can't take the heat, then get out of the kitchen. And I also want to thank and be appreciative to the fact that this is Hispanic month, that to appreciate the Hispanic culture and what they've done to help our community and our country grow. And I just think that, you know, that we're all one big, huge pot here, you know, and it's a work in progress, as I think. So anyway, I appreciate everybody's patience tonight. I appreciate the public's patience tonight. And as always, we'll get through it. Thank you.
No more council comments? Just a couple comments here. The Common Council is going to sponsor the Michigan City Wolves pregame dinner Thursday night, okay, at 5 o'clock down in Ames Field. If you can make it, fine. And yeah, the money's, just give me your money when you get ready to, okay? And yeah, we're gonna try to fill the Wolves' bellies up so they can go out and have a good game on Friday night. They got a pretty good team, and even next year they're going to be a lot better. And then I want to thank our wonderful, professional, delightful, hardworking city clerk for getting everything ready for tonight's meeting, whether it was with amendments or getting this agenda put together. I appreciate it. I knew this was going to be a long meeting, and yeah, thank you, Gail, for all your help making it run as smoothly as we did. And I just want to give a shout out and a thank you. And Councilwoman Knight mentioned his name, Jerry Passmore, the Reverend that is putting, or the minister, the Reverend that's putting this peace walk together. I talked to Jerry, I don't know, 3 weeks ago about this, and I'm going to assist him somewhat with some things, but I think it's a great idea. It's a great initiative, and it shows that there are people in the community that really care. They want a peaceful community, and I have to thank Reverend Passmore for stepping up and getting the community involved to try to make it a safer and better community. With that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion to adjourn.
It's always.
Meeting's adjourned.